How can this be? Was this creature's rebirth Zorba's plan all along?
If it escapes, if it makes it to the city... It spotted us!
Metaphor ReFantazio is in a lot of ways Persona 6. In a lot of other ways it could not be more different. For instance, you are not a high schooler, even though you look like one. And of course, the setting is in a fantasy world. Metaphor has qualities that Persona is missing, while it also has flaws Persona does not have. This video will be longer. I will go through the whole story and intercept with side stories, criticism and some other input that occurred to me while playing the game and sorting my footage. Given the length, no one should be surprised by spoilers, but I'm warning you anyway. Metaphor starts like Persona. You give your characters a name and also name yourself. And that's it. Like Persona, almost all choices in the game are fake. They will lead to minor or even no different reactions. Let's watch the intro and the second intro, because one is not enough.
I trust this will suffice.
God smiles upon the generous.
Oh, away with you! Back to your cesspit, beggar! A land grotesque as its people. You dreamt of utopia. You saw the tribes united as one.
Oh.
That dream died long ago. You should have done the same. Your kingdom will perish alongside you. By my hand.
I cannot fathom it. His Majesty killed in his own bed.
The blooms upon the prince's grave had yet to wilt. Without an heir to wear the crown, what will become of the royal magic?
Thus vulnerable, an invasion might undo us.
From within or without, the state hangs on a precipice. It may even come to civil war.
In dark times, we must stand together.
Your Eminence!
Who could do this? Few could even enter the king's chambers, let alone draw close. And yet
His Majesty's arcane power could deflect near any blade. With all the royal bloodline's magic, who could harm him at all?
shadows stir in the castle just as they did with the prince. What hellbound soul could end a royal life? Who would dare such atrocity? Huh?
Luis.
A shame to die with no heirs. The prince was taken too soon. And only a king may wield the royal scepter, the very crux of his vaunted bloodline's magic, which made such a fine deterrent to war. One has to ask, them dead, who shall take the throne?
Looks like we're in the clear. The capital's just through this desert.
Is it true then? The king is dead? Aye, and the guards are more concerned with the funeral than keeping the roads safe. So now the monsters are roaming in broad daylight. No soldiers to stop them.
Monsters, huh? I've certainly been hearing the stories.
To say nothing of the vacant throne. There's a storm coming, mark my words. That much is certain.
What's the problem?
They're bandits!
Come on, let's see some respect for the militia! Us folk, we're commoners. No crown or church will save us.
But Lord Luis will save us one and all. All we ask is a little tribute. You're with us or against us? And if you're against us...
An igniter? How'd they get one of those?
Come on! Hey, keep it moving! Hurry it up! Next one! Huh? Look at you! What have we got here? He's an elder! So he is. No horns, no knife is. Filthy gremlin like you. What you got in the capital? Oh, what's this? Looks like you've been holding out on us, boy. Hold it! Should have listened to us, chum. Now fall in line! Unless you want to get stuck like a...
You drew steel. I take it you are prepared to die by it.
Stand aside!
We can immediately see just from the design that there are two important characters. First, the lady with the red hair, us, and the fairy Gallica. I named the protagonist Will because that is more or less the official name. Most Persona games also have these. Keep in mind that the red-haired lady, which later turned out was a knight focused on honor and defending the weak, was perfectly fine letting people get robbed, endangering their lives through poverty. We also saw the villain and how the city is functioning. The first thing we see is corruption, poverty and racism. It's a dead center theme of the game. Also, the names are interesting as it seems completely Europe focused. Will is an English name, while Gallica is the name of the French National Library. Which makes sense because she is the little sidekick to the main protagonist that will always speak for him, so you can be almost mute. She is also an expedition dump, so her name fits well. The lady in red is named Halkenberg, which is a German name, at least it sounds like one, but it's more or like a very rare last name. In short, the names are all a bit off. We first have to get to the city, which also serves as a movement tutorial. Our attacks do almost nothing, so we have to evade or ignore the enemy. Oh yeah, I also let the characters sometimes talk for themselves, if they have lines that fit. I do this so you don't have to hear my voice all the time and you have a nice break, but also because you can hear and judge the voice acting by yourself, which is in this game and was for the Persona games as well, always excellent.
Just checking, but you do remember what we're here to do, right?
Right. What am I doing again?
Oh, I don't know. The mission that's more important than our own lives? First, we get to the royal capital and get you enlisted as a guardsman at the army's recruitment center. This could decide the fate of the whole country. We either do our jobs or we die. And if it's all the same to you, I'd rather stay alive. So we've got to see this mission through. Come on. We don't want the sun to go down on us in the wastes. Let's pull ourselves together and get back on the road. You know what they say. Anxiety breeds the world's cruelest monsters. I mean, fairies say that at least. I can at least cast my usual spell for you. It's the small comforts, right?
Right.
Yes, Gallica is the in-game reason why we have BGM. We arrive at the city and this is how we find the place.
This land of 8 tribes and 3 nations, all blessed by the power of magic. The United Kingdom of Uchronia. The year is 785. Uchronia is shaken to the core by the sudden death of its king. Anxiety breeds dissent among the tribes. Disparities tear them apart, and no mortal mind remembers the heroic tales upon which their land was built. By this story of fantasy, May this faded world be painted anew.
Whoa, just look!
Whoa.
Get on with it, then! Drop the dog! Hang him dead! Please! I've done nothing wrong! Lying dog! Don't try to deny it! You trample the law for the fun of it!
Let it be known, for misuse of an igniter, you will hang by the neck until dead!
Yeah!
There's no way that crowd was going to listen to anything a Paribus said.
Such a shame. Might you spare some coin? Bless you. Oh,
careful!
Hurry!
Don't you have any street smarts? Come on, kid! Look, we're not tourists here. We gotta stay focused.
Right.
You noticed back on the wagon? You might be the only elder here, in the whole city even.
Our character is new, for spoiler reasons, let's say in a lot of ways, so this intro, which actually does not show anything new, is probably there so it really hammers down the theme, but also to show how our characters are seeing the world. They find it abhorrent. Again, another cutscene that is important, but the game front loads these. I promise these interruptions will calm down later.
The king dead, his son stricken. Are there none left to bear the weight of the crown?
We've done all in our power, but not even the kingdom's best. The saint could purify this affliction.
Over 10 years he has languished under this curse. How much longer can his body hold out? No doubt his highness would protest. But since he cannot, we have no choice. For the man who cursed his highness and murdered our king, there can be no mercy. I never thought I would have to ask this of you. But there are so few of us left now. There is no one else to turn to. Will you infiltrate the military to deliver a message to our contact there? This is your mission. For all our sakes, you cannot fail.
Talking to various people, we see A, that they are all concerned by the king dying, and B, they are all racist. We also learn that in order to use magic, people use something called igniters. We have a contact within the army, so we will make our way to the recruitment center and enlist. The recruiters are as bad as they are stereotypical. Racist, self-serving and cowards. And we sign up with them. Then we gather our belongings and equipment and meet Stroll.
Move it! There's a priority around here. We're arming squires and children with igniters now. Waste of good gear. It's better off in my hands. Give it here.
Brute force and crude insults. The world is yours for the taking.
Care to say that again, boy?
We all have our reasons to enlist. Now get back in line.
Oh, another high and mighty Clamar, is it? You think your pretty words will measure up to pure Rousseau strength?
Oh, forget the tribes. This is a matter of pride. Now, you owe us both an apology.
Come on, no fighting in the ranks.
Sorry for making a scene. You all right?
Thanks. You didn't have to do that.
Just felt like stepping in. Don't worry about it. Well, see you around. Try not to die out there.
Then we travel to a border town, while in our quarters we read in the book that apparently the prince gave us.
Sure, I guess.
I gotta say, I've been curious. Thanks. It's what you call a fantasy story, right? So it's a fantasy world made up by the author. The prince loved those kinds of stories. Okay, let's see. It says the young traveler was amazed by the world he saw. In this world, there is only one tribe. All people accept each other, and no soul is born into discrimination. Wow. So not even any fairies? I guess less differences means less to argue over. In such a world, there is no need for sorcery. A megapolis is built through learning and labor. Towers of glass that reach the heavens. Safe nights with no dark shadows. Busy streets well traveled. And in the laws of these emotionally satisfied people, it reads, all lives are equal. Whoa. I see. No magic, no tribal conflict. And equality for all? It really does sound like a fantasy. But it's strange to feel envious of a fictional world. Hey, are you asleep already? You know how hard it is for me to turn these pages on my own? Well, guess I'll just read more later. Good night.
The world in the book is like ours with tinted glasses. It's a more idealistic world which we inhabit, and the prince wanted to make the current world like that. Stroll asks us after our arrival about our book, and he says,
I admit, I'm intrigued. So it's describing a better world. A utopia, perhaps. I'm something of a reader myself, but that's not like any book I've read. You know, when the late king took the throne, he was quite the idealist himself. He made grand claims about unifying the people under his rule. Never managed to do it in the end, of course. Reform takes more than high-minded, eloquent speeches. Maybe he was too blind to see that himself.
Note here that the old king wanted change but could not. We arrive at the fort for the purpose of training, but found it being attacked by a strange creature our characters call humans. These creatures are well designed, and we go into that and the combat later. For now we fight our way through the castle and encounter our first boss, a giant human. And this happens during the fight after Stroll loses consciousness.
Stroll! Don't be a fool! Just run for it.
Oh, fate-saddled child. Oh, anguished traveler. Thy fate is crown-twined, thy soul bound for the throne. The future yet unknown dawns in this moment. Thy path may fork, but only one may be chosen. Confront the threat before thee, or die here in obscurity. Now choose.
I choose.
So be it. Heroism lies in the soul that stands firm against its fears. Power awaits thy command. The time is come to awaken the hero within. Engrave thy very heart.
This hits all the persona notes. A woman speaking ominously and slowly like she's completely high, and a mysterious power forming first in the main character. From this point on we can use magic without igniters, and these powers are called archetypes. After the fight we meet Grius, who is our contact. and he helps us outside. We also learn a lot of new things. First, Krios is an old veteran, and our mission is to kill Louis when the ceremony to bury the king is about to take place. Also, that our characters are not fit to be spies, because they talk about this so openly that Stroll hears this. Metaphor, like Persona, is full of idiot ball moments. For everyone who does not know, idiot ball describes characters being stupid so the story moves along, mostly when it's outside of their character description. So we have characters that are always intelligent, but when the story has to move along, then one character has to catch the idiot ball and does something stupid that leads to the required events. Stroll, of course, agrees to join us. We don't know anything about him, but sure, let's trust him, with one of the most important conspiracies. We plan to kill Louis so the curse is lifted and the prince is free. Through the game, we will learn that Louis came to the kingdom as an outsider and made his way up the military through achievements. He is one of the few people able to kill humans, the in-universe humans, with ease. We go to sleep and meet more.
Well, hello. Nice to meet you. I've been waiting. And now you've acquired a most interesting power. You truly are an intriguing one. Fascinating. In the moments where your heart is most gripped by the book, I can reach out to you. My name is Moore, and I am the humble author of the novel you've been reading. You stand now in my study. Quite something, isn't it? A hall of wisdom, purpose-built for the research of certain powers. I call it academia. Alas, it's as much a prison as it is a library. His most merciful majesty saw fit to lock me in this place. It has me a bit addled, honestly. I no longer remember where in the kingdom my study actually lies. I never imagined my voice would reach beyond these walls. Until you appeared. And now, by whatever strange forces are afoot, I can speak directly to your mind. So, what would you say to an alliance?
For Persona fans, he's essentially the ego of this game, a dreamlike entity that helps our characters and gives us power. Moore is investigating archetypes, which as we learn is the power we used against humans, and he was imprisoned in this space and thinks that through researching archetypes, he may escape. He was imprisoned by the king. He's the author of the book that we are reading. For anyone not catching on, Thomas More is the original real-life author of the novel Utopia. And look at the cover of that book, it looks very much like the game world. With More we make a bond, which is this game's version of a social link. I don't know why, but the imagery of the screen reminds me strongly of communist propaganda. This is how every social link or bond will end. We do stuff and it ends with a communist handshake. Krios now gives us a combat tutorial. We will have hours later after the first proper dungeon. We fight our way through a cave and meet the guy that recruited us. We also learn something about Stroll.
A village? You refused. Wait, then you were the one who... 7 years ago, the first Flames Day of June, a village in the northern hills was razed to the ground. A village called Harlia.
Well, yes, that might have been a name.
Then you made a fatal mistake, Klinger.
You left one survivor! Stay back! Help me!
You played right into our hands, you know. This was the only road without checkpoints. A simple deduction.
You're a disgrace to your title. I may not make it out alive, but as for you, you're
hopeless!
O thou who art seared with bitterness, O thou anguished traveler, it is time for thou to choose thy path. O lodestar, whose light reveals the king's own path, awaken.
What?
What the? Oh, no! I can't fail Lord Luis. Without him, I've got nothing left. You struggle in vain. I won't let you rob me of my glory! This is the way of the real world, little lordling!
You call this real? Leaders abandon their people and the innocent die by their scorn. If that's the real world, then it can die alongside you! My name is Leon Stroll de Haliatus. My home and my family were taken from me. I am the last of my house. I am the last of my noble bloodline. And in the name of my people, I will strike you down where you stand!
This is also a staple within the Personaverse. Our party confronts personal challenges or trauma and awaken their power. Stroll is now able to use archetypes and magic. Stroll tells us that his family owned the village that was burned and he carried that burden for a long time. He sees the corruption and unjust of the current system and wants to join us. Mind you that his village burned years ago when the king was active, and also of course, communist handshake. I will go through all the bonds later, but some are interwoven with the main story, like Gallica, who just gets an upgrade as the story progresses. She also gets to visit more in his room. Like Igor or his assistants, more Spond gets upgraded by the progress system. In Igor's case, it was getting specific personas, while for more, it's getting specific archetypes.
Right.
We trust each other. I've got his back and he's got mine. And that's all there is to it.
The mystical fairy, Gallica. Within her dwells the virtue of the mage. Nurture thy bond with her, and a new power yet slumbering within thee may awaken.
It's like a CCP meeting, communist handshakes everywhere. Krios very suspiciously does not overcome a personal issue. He is very old for a companion in the Personaverse and he's raising massive death flags. We find condensed magla, which is the magic of this world, in form of this weird egg. They will later reappear and spawn endless amount of monsters. For this one we have to fight a boss. And after the fight we destroy it. In our camp, Krios tells us about the assassination attempt on the prince and we get a flashback to see a familiar face. Krios says that he saw Louis there, but the flashback does not show that. And I give you a spoiler. Krios mistook Louis for another. The person just looked young and he suspected the newcomer.
And you're sure Luis is the man you seek?
I saw him in the fray. He was younger then. Younger even than you are now, and shorter besides. I could never mistake him.
We meet more again and he explains us the gameplay reason for the bonds. If we have enough followers and reach enough heart-to-heart events, we get more archetypes to unlock. Each of these archetypes has different abilities. We arrive at the city and Krios leads us to his hideout, introduces his daughter Maria and his girlfriend Fabienne.
You're back.
Papa, welcome home.
Well, hello, my Maria. I trust you've been staying out of trouble. These are, well, new recruits. Just enlisted.
So young. It's good to meet you. I'm Fabienne. This inn is my business and my home. Manners, Maria.
Welcome.
We connect easily and fast with both of them. However, should we? Because we are against the current government and if anyone catches us, they could extract information with torture or some magical method. If you are an undercover cell, you actively only want enough information for your objective. Any additional information endangers fellow agents. If they catch us, they also get Maria and because of that Krios. We know from a gaming perspective that this won't happen, but if we take the in-game world serious, this is a stupid thing to reveal. The same is true for us letting everyone know that the prince is alive and where. Our plan is as follows. We attack Louis during the funeral of the king. That's it. No contingency plans, no cover up, no retreat. Just attack Louis directly and hope for the best afterwards. This is a problem with the writing in this game. When the game sets you up to fail or succeed, our characters never take any other outcome into consideration. We as players know the game won't be over so soon and the attempt will fail, but our characters don't. So they should plan for everything beyond the assassination. The devs never thought about this because they know there is no after the assassination. To make this a more constructive criticism, I would have had the characters plan everything through. How do they assassinate him? What if Louis is ill at the day or occupied? What happens if something goes wrong? Retreat? Still attacking? What are the signals for either options? What is the retreat route? Where do we hide after our retreat? What if Louis catches Krios quickly? What happens if someone of us dies? There are tons of plans for a myriad of different scenarios that our characters should be very interested in discussing about. But it seems the devs either not have thought about this, or they think it's time wasted because the plan is going to shit the bed anyway. Krios also tells us to keep Maria company because she's lonely. Why is that a stranger's job? Should you, the father, not be the person? We talk to her a bit and then go to sleep. In the next morning we prepare and the ceremony happens.
Hey, what do we...
What's happening?
Such power. It can't be. Oh. The palace!
I am Hythlodius V.
His Majesty?
The people of my land desire a new king, and I shall provide. In 4 moons of life past death, there shall come a reckoning, a day of the hero. Upon that day, whosoever hath truly earned the greatest faith of the citizenry shall ascend to throne and crown by right of kings. From the lofty heaven shall my unfading soul look down upon thee, and from the whispered hopes of thine anxious hearts shall those to whom thine allegiances lie be laid bare. I hear thy voices ring out in clarion truth. Here and now witness the faces of those most desired to become king.
It's Vorden. Count Louise! Count Louise is there too!
They're all candidates.
Ha! What glorious spectacle! The mantle of king is mine by rights and providence.
You go too far, Louis. We gather to mourn his majesty, and you desecrate it. You would befoul the throne, blackguard.
So be it. Shall we test that?
Come, Luis! He's catching up to Vorden!
Can the giant thing really see what we're thinking?
Louis, you've led the people's hearts astray!
Alcest?
I shall not suffer the defiance of my people's will. In my name art thou punished.
Punished? Impressive. one of the royal family's dogs. Rather poetic, I suppose. See how he has rewarded your loyalty.
Upon the day of the hero, whosoever has most earned my people's faith shall ascend upon my throne to rule, according to my judgment. Be thou criminal, pauper, or noble, thy claim is decided not by stature or tribe. I shall bear witness. From this heavenly seat I am nigh omnipotent. Look to the faces carved upon this rock, and see thou the faces of the chosen. I shall brook no sabotage or obstruction of this trial. Let all hear me and obey.
The sun sets on old fossils. It is a new dawn, and its light shines upon Lord Luis as king.
Stand down!
Damned meddlers. So your wish is to die, is it? Your bones will be monuments to Lord Luis's glory! Ah!
No! He defiles the dead!
But Lord Luis has sent me here on an important errand.
What errand?
It seems I'll need considerable time to accumulate the Magla. Until it's done, however, I'm afraid I'll have to borrow the cathedral. The day the king's mourning ends will become the day of calamity. If you mean to interfere, then die.
Stand strong! The souls of the dead do not return. He manipulates them as puppets with foul magic!
Brace yourselves, everyone!
So that was a lot. Going through with the plan after that happening was insane in the first place, and Krios paid the price. We meet Hulkenberg again, who was a royal knight, as we know from the flashback. She knows Krios as Alces and assumes that the Emo Mage is after the royal scepter, which enables its user to perform tremendous magic, the origin of the giant face. Let's just look at this again and the magic the king performed spanning over the whole continent. It's quite tremendous, right? So when we heard that the king wanted to end racism and corruption, but he was unable to do so while being able to do this, it tells me more that the king not really tried or just pretended despite what our flashback and the king says. We also learn that there are survivors inside the cathedral and we need to rescue them. We rescue some people and return to the entrance where Fabienne meets us. She's searching for Maria and is pretty upset about the whole slit throat thing. Maria is nearby and she returns to the inn, and we find another entrance. From this point on, the game works like this. You have some days of free time and you have to do the dungeon within those days. You can also spend your time deepening bonds, training or doing side quests. You also have stats like intelligence that are named differently in this game for no apparent reason. You can increase them too by spending time. Each day has 2 slots, evening and midday. I usually do the dungeon first and then have free time, which means that for most Persona games, the first dungeon is relatively the hardest, which is also true for Metaphor. We go through the dungeon and find Krios as a zombie.
The prince is alive!
Hey!
He's right. We do hunt Luis, but not for revenge. We mean to lift the prince's curse.
Is that true? His Highness is still...
Yes, he lives. So you have to keep fighting!
You mean, if that's true, then I...
O lodestar who wanders in solemn duty, O thou anguished traveler. Thy long stagnant stance hath finally been broken. Now choose thy path.
Hear now my new calling, transcending all oaths. I choose life of my own will!
chosen a noble parting. Henceforth, thy fears and insecurities become thy light. Thou art the brilliant star that shall illuminate the King's Road. Now, awaken.
My name is Iselin Pacelli Majal Hulkenberg. I am knight, I am commander, and last of the Honor Guard! Once more, I take up arms in my liege's name!
Alcest, I will see you freed.
After Kree's second death, we track his corpse and present it to Maria to eat her own father's flesh for the ritual to succeed. Something's wrong with my script. Instead we can bond now with Maria, but that is for the bonding part of the video. On a side note, we can now see our popularity, which is completely useless. It does nothing. It goes up when we solve quests and through the main story, but because it's so interwoven with the main premise, you cannot get ahead. You will get into the first places when the story progresses fast enough, and there are no side effects. No price decreases in shops, no new side quests open up, or new abilities. It's just a reminder and nothing else. What makes it so odd is they put it on RB, which on most controllers and in most games opens the map. I cannot count how often I wanted to look at the map and instead got a popularity that always has some kind of script that you cannot skip. It's tiresome and useless, for that you cannot actively engage with it and it has no effect. We now enter the dungeon again. We find some of Louis' men fighting along with the zombies, which also does not make any sense. Louis needs to win the popularity poll and needs to keep his involvement secret. The more people are involved in a conspiracy, the faster it gets discovered, and having no name soldiers of file and rank being ordered to do essentially terrorism should cause this conspiracy to be exposed. Soldiers are not known for keeping their mouths shut. The devs never thought about how an unnamed NPC might affect the story, because in their mind they are just enemies that don't exist outside the game. This thoughtlessness of the in-universe characters that are not thought through is a staple in the Persona-verse. Let's call it soulless NPCs. Characters are portrayed as being real humans, but if they would act like real humans, the story would not work, so they are just static enemies or allies that are never relevant even when they should be. The soldiers here are definitely soulless NPCs for the aforementioned reason. We come to a room where a lot of portraits are displayed. Most have been destroyed, but a portrait of Louis hangs there. Our characters can feel a worship-like devotion to Louis from the Emomancer, that is called Zorba. He defends a corridor by shooting magic at us, which makes it impossible for us to approach. But only in this corridor, and he won't use it in the boss fight. Because of reasons? We use the portrait, so Zorba in his worship-like devotion cannot shoot us. This feels strongly that the devs thought first about the portrait solution and really liked it, and then searched for a reason to use it. That's why Zorba won't use this skill again in no other location. We also don't use the portrait as a shield, even though it works. It's a one-time thought of event and then it has to pass, even though in-universe there are good reasons why it shouldn't be. Zorba awaits us at the top of the temple, with the scepter in hand. We defeat him.
Lord Luis is everything to me. How could I expect the damned Clamar to understand what it's like? You must know. Surely an elder like you must know what it's like. To be an outcast, to be every fool's scapegoat. They call us lesser tribes. They loathe us. Their speeches of tribal harmony mean nothing, when every day they cheat and abuse us. Do you think I didn't believe once that I never dared to hope my efforts made me equal? I had thought to gather an unstoppable swell of Magla, but it doesn't matter anymore. Those lordly pigs can drown in their own dread. Sanctism cannot save this world. If we are to be ruled by a god, then let it be Lord Luis!
What did you just do?
This is everything I've been building my Magla for! A little early, perhaps. But now, you can experience my glorious day of calamity!
Hey! Tell us where Luis is!
Ah, my lord, Luis.
How can this be? Was this creature's rebirth Zorba's plan all along?
If it escapes, if it makes it to the city,
It spotted us!
His Highness's home must still stand when he returns. I will end this here!
Another city in ruins. Never again. It dies or I do.
It's coming!
He summoned the human and we fight it. While the footage plays, let's talk about the design. It's awesome, right? The humans look so good, and it's a very good achievement that the artist came up with that design all by themselves. They don't write anywhere in the credits or elsewhere that it is from outside, so it must be all of their own ideas, right? It would be really bad, even if they don't break any laws, if they took the design from elsewhere and they never acknowledged it in-game, right? Stealing someone's work would not be acceptable for a prolific company like Atlas. Well, they did exactly that. Many of the human enemies are from an artist called Hieronymus Busch. He's long dead, so there is no copyright infringement. But if you took not just inspiration, but the design verbatim into your game, should you not at least say it in the game? Or even in the credits? Or even hint at it so people would know? I think this is unethical. After the humans' defeat, we see the market crier and some cabal of people that are almost comic-like.
Ladies and gents, lend me your ears! Sanctifex Forden has spoken! The giant face in the sky, the massive rocks appearing throughout the land, and the mysterious voice claiming to be the past king. The Sanctus Church has officially recognized these happenings as the will of His Royal Majesty.
So it really is His Majesty!
And so, as His Majesty has decreed, whoever has gained the greatest trust of the people by the day of decision shall be our new king. This is a historic moment, good citizens. It's revolutionary. It's unprecedented. No matter who you are, you can take the throne.
anyone!
Even me? If, and this is a big if, you are the person that all our people trust most in their hearts.
Maybe you could be king yourself, eh? You're popular enough.
Me? In charge? Well, that's the last thing this country needs. Right, let's review what we know, shall we? First, the new faces that have appeared on the rock. It shows us who's foremost in the running. We've worked out that much. The top 3 of the lot are also shown in the sky. Suppose that way you can see their inspiring faces anytime, anywhere.
Hold on. How's us common folk supposed to stand a chance against all these upper crusters?
Say you do become popular. With your face clear for all to see, surely that'd make you a prime target for assassination.
Not quite, friend. Not quite. A valid concern, but one His Majesty prepared for. Popular aspirants, at least those who make it onto the rock, are protected by royal magic. Assassinations off the table. Magic chains will spring to life and bind anyone who tries. I saw it happen with my own eyes to Count Luis's sorry assailant.
So, literally anyone could be king? Even a pauper? Or a slave? Or a criminal?
Hold on, you mean to say we might not be ruled by Clamar? What does that mean for us?
Right, I've said my piece. You know all I know. Now go forth, ladies and gents, and spread the word. Whether you're from our fair capital or the middle of nowhere, the crown's within your grasp. Anyone in the land could be our next king.
And then we have free time again. You won't, because I will explain the combat. The key to having an enjoyable combat in Metaphor is not having to engage with it. Combat is turn-based, but the worst kind. You have up to 4 party members and each has archetypes that dictate their skill set and the resistances against elements. Enemies also have these weaknesses and immunities, and if you strike an enemy's weakness, you get a turn icon. And if you hit its immunity, you lose some. Turn icons give you turns. There are full icons and half icons, which only dictates if you can get more of these. You cannot get another half icon by striking a weakness while being in a turn that is using a half turn. That means it's fundamental that you learn to find out the resistances of your enemies. Your best defense is evading, which removes 2 turn icons from the enemy. And if you have a special ring, which is the most powerful equipment in the game, enemies will lose all their turns and you can go again. This even works in large area attacks, so only one of your 4 characters have to evade, which almost always happen, and then it's your turn again. As you can see, it mostly works like Persona. It has some better parts with the turn icons that let you more strategize. The best thing is probably the buff effect, that unlike Persona goes up in 3 tiers. And when you debuff or rebuff, you actually gain something instead of just continuing your effect. Let's look at the combat.
You'll be dust! It's come! Oh, shards of ice!
Looks fast, right? That's because I'm pressing a button to skip the animation. At this point I saw them like 100 times, and the novelty just wears off. Like many RPGs, especially the early Final Fantasy games, they use an auto combat feature. These features are there so you can fasten or skip combat when you either fight weaker enemies so you don't have to pay attention, or have done enough combat that you don't want to or need to see it again. Auto combat in most games is faster for this reason. Unlike in Persona, Metaphor improved it, so your characters can heal and use skills by themselves, which makes it one of the better auto combats in design. In execution, however, it does not skip the animation. So the feature that you want to use when you have seen enough combat takes much longer than when you repeatedly press the A button. So fast combat is very tedious and requires stupid and monotonous input from the player. While the auto feature is slow, it's bad. There's nothing more to add. So as I said in the beginning, what's the best way of not dealing with this bullshit? The best way is to farm. Metaphor has another system in how to deal with weak enemies, and that's for a good reason. All combat has something that we call transactionary time cost. When you enter combat, it's a load screen. Introduces the characters, and this will take some amount of time, even if you kill all enemies with one skill. So the devs wisely made it possible to kill weaker enemies with the engage combat button, which you normally use to get an ambush or no advantage when initializing combat. This is there so you have not to enter the combat arena. It saves you a load screen and character introductions. If your level is around 3 higher than your enemies, it won't get into real combat, although you can if you want. Instead it will kill them, and you get still the stuff from the combat. The higher the level difference from you to the enemy, the less resources you get. At maximum, you only get a 1/10 of what you should get, but the combat is more than 10 times faster. You can kill 10 enemies easily with that method, with no risk, and in some areas you can farm by using auto hotkey. You can farm AFK. This makes the feature vastly important for another reason. Like in Persona, you have mana, Makla, special power, whatever they call it in each game. You cannot heal it as easily as you can with HP. Items that do that are rare and not buyable in infinite amounts. But one archetype, the mage, gives you some mana back when you kill enemies, even the ones without combat, so you can finish each dungeon in one day because you can get more mana without spending health by killing enemies as a mage. Everyone who reads the archetype's description and played a Persona game will notice this, because the bottleneck in these games are time slots, and that is what you want to preserve. When you finish combat or leveling up, you can invest stats, and I usually invested everything in luck, because I thought I get more stuff out of it. The best way, however, I found out is the merchant archetype, which gives you money when you kill enemies based on your level. Yes, yours. While I could go through each skill, buffs and archetypes, let's keep it at that. The archetypes are similar to personas and you can equip them with skills from other archetypes. There is not much to say unless I would like to reach a word count, but this video is big enough. We resume the main story and our next break will be about capitalism, yay! While we discuss the competition, Fabienne tells us that Maria went missing and we search and find her in the cathedral.
Papa hasn't come home. And I always come here whenever I'm feeling lonely. One time he came here to get me. I remember because he called my name, but I pray, and he still doesn't come back. Maybe because the cathedral's broken?
Maria.
Miss Fabienne says Papa can't come home anymore, but I know Papa's gone away. He's gone somewhere I'll never see him again, hasn't he?
The next day, the town crier announces that they will have a competition where everyone presents some combat achievements, like killing a monster, and present it in the next city. Our plan is to get near Louis, so we can lift the curse from the prince. So we enlist as a competitor to find a criminal and to gain attention, and then we declare Louis our ally. Our protagonist will be the candidate.
Ladies and gents, have you heard the news? The curtain's about to rise on the show of a lifetime. To choose our new ruler, we're going to give all of you a chance to take center stage in a show of power for the whole kingdom. And we call it the Tournament for the Throne. Our aspirants will set out on a grand tour of the 3 allied nations' capitals, taking part in a variety of exciting trials. First, we have the Exhibition of the Brave. Slay a monster plaguing our fair people and bring its head to Oceania's capital in time. Biggest find takes the win. Official word is, this event's open to all. So what do you think, ladies and gents? Are you in it to watch or in it to win?
We find out about a kidnapper named Heismay, which plagues a city named Martira. The local guard captain is searching for help, and we talk to him. This seems like the perfect candidate for our plan, so we agree. The competition starts with a famous songstress, and then the town crier speaks, which sounds in-game like this.
Even I'm feeling the heat. Well, I suppose it's time to fan the flames. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome one and all to the inauguration of the Tournament for the Throne! For the first time, the crown is anyone's to claim, as long as the aspirants can complete 3 grueling challenges.
Wow, a Sanctus Crier! He's perfect for this!
Let's discuss the venues. We kick off in the west, in the Pearl of the Coast, the Principality of Oceania's harbour city capital, Port Brilehaven. There, they face their first challenge, the Exhibition of the Brave. Each contender must bring back the head of a monster, a mark of their prowess and courage. Next, our would-be monarchs head east. Upon the misty peaks, we arrive in the Principality of Montario's beautiful city of faith, Altaberry Heights. And finally, our heroes make their well-deserved return home to Grand Trad. But first, let's do introductions. It's time to meet those risking their lives for the crown.
While it should sound for the actual audience like this.
Sanctism's one and only 78 Sanctifex, His Eminence, Forden!
They don't use any sound increasing magic. The place is huge. This speech is only for the player with no regards how it would actually work, but everyone pretends like they can hear it. We see our other competitors, which are mostly unimportant, giving some speeches that are essentially without any content. The same is true for ours, by the way. And now we need to catch a ride. This world has something called Gauntlet Runners, and Hulkenberg knows someone and contacted him beforehand. The name is Nurus, and he makes quite the entrance. He was a royal engineer and is something like a mad scientist. We know from the flashback that Noiras intended for this Gauntlet Runner to be used by the prince before he vanished. The Gauntlet Runner is our way of transport. We can use it to go to side quests in different cities, and while we are on it, we can do various activities like reading, gardening, cooking and bonding. Many activities will increase your stats or your attributes, or in some cases you need to be on the Gauntlet Runner to progress a bond. On our travels we watch a fight between contestants. From the magic that restrained Krios we could see that people are protected from assassination, but we assumed two things. This protection only extends to the big contestants and not smaller ones. Also that there are exceptions like duels. Guido, the contestant that's on the church side, is fighting with Claudel, who is on Louis' side. We help him because our goal is getting near Louis. We find the songstress Yuna on this runner.
You surprised me out there, love. You bested Godot. So you're not just a pretty face. You were more help than my useless driver, at least.
Look here. However talented and famed a songstress she may be, you must remember to contain yourselves.
Songstress? Wait, is she the same Nidia lady who sang at the opening ceremony?
Aye, but that's... oh, blast it all, I can't take it anymore. I'd know those suspensions anywhere. You had Caden workshop on this, eh? Yes, those are quality parts and no mistake. Luis really shells out for his own.
By the crown, you can't be serious! She is Juno, the kingdom's greatest singer, the dulcet diva! Oh, this is preposterous! Surely I can't be the only one starstruck? Really? No one else wants to shake her hand?
Louis comes to help and we talk to him and his supporters. We have to find out about the curse and a frontal assault would be suicide, so we pretend to be on his side. We then split off and travel to Matira, where Bardon greets us. We get invited to the local inn and get to taste the local dish and visit the governor the next day.
Is this some kind of smoked dish?
Roasted larvae of the giant sandworm. It's Martira's culinary speciality. Cooked to a delicate finish, just enough to preserve all the natural juices and flavors of the innards.
Oh good. Larval innards.
Tis a unique texture, to be sure, but the taste is divine. Exquisite.
You're completely serious, aren't you?
Something the matter? Do try some of your own before it gets cold.
Looks great. What is with that smile? Not you too.
You fairly eat with gusto, young man. Passion worthy of a royal candidate. How was it? Sometimes the insides can twitch a bit, but it's harmless, I assure you.
I am Joanna, presiding lady of this city. On its behalf, you have my gratitude for traveling all the way from the royal capital.
Well, we don't deserve that much credit. After all, we're not helping for free.
Even so, please put an end to this tragedy. If you get rid of the culprit, I will appeal to the people of this town to support you.
'Twas a confident smile indeed, with a great deal of pain behind it.
So what are we gonna do about Heisme? We'll have to go out in Sandworm territory to find him, right?
The mere fact of his kidnappings suggests he's passing unseen by guards and sandworms alike. The question is, how?
She has two guards, Bardon and Morris. Morris tells us about the sandstorm outside. Before we go with our runner, Noiras shows us his engine room. It somehow reacted to us and it's an old blueprint, so we ask Moa if he does know something. And he does. We have to imagine a familiar place. When we do, we teleport to the city again. From this point on, we can teleport to previous locations. The reason the game does this is so we can have bonds all over the world and don't need to backtrack. It does not cost time to teleport. However, this opens up a giant Pandora's box of problems. We need to stay under the radar because we want to approach Louis, an intelligent and strong adversary with a lot of political and military power. He has his own way of gathering information. Being able to teleport all over the place will get us a lot of attention. So if Louis will investigate us, he will find out that we have Hulkenberg, a former royal knight, we have Nuros, a royal engineer who made a gauntlet for the prince. We are an unknown elder, and spoilers, the prince also looks like an elder and was born in the elder sanctum. And we have a fairy. It doesn't take much brain power to sort out that we are connected to the prince. This requires soulless NPC behavior from a lot of characters in the game. No one will ever tell Louis, hey, these guys just teleported here. Don't you want to investigate? It's kinda crazy, right? We travel to find Heismay and find ourselves in a desert. What was supposed to be a sandstorm is in actuality a human. We get ourselves into a Pinocchio-like situation and fight our way out. This feels quite pointless, like someone just wanted to insert their war fetish. In a cave we find Heismay's tent and the bat himself.
How do you know where it's hiding?
I think it's gone somewhere.
Are you the man we seek?
Name yourselves!
You mean this is Heismay?
I didn't expect a Chief.
He's a Chief?
Never seen one in the flesh. We're but another lesser tribe the city dwellers don't care for.
We fight him and ward him off. Then during the investigation of his tent we find out that he was a shadow guard, something like a ninja order and similar to the royal knights. Also everything is wrapped in cloves and he seemed very sensible to sounds, so we try to draw him out with a lot of noise.
Right then, let's get this plan underway.
Heismay! Come out!
Show yourself!
Wow, that's some crazy echo.
Kind of nice getting to let loose. Long as I'm yelling anyway.
Louise! You think you're so bloody untouchable, you bastard!
Hey! Big ugly sandwormy human thing! Even Hulkenberg wouldn't eat you!
Gasp! Rejected by Hulkenberg! The ravenous, all-devouring she-beast of the Knight's Order!
Is this what we've come to? Saying whatever's on our minds? Well, so be it. Kanika, the sound of your wings keeps me up at night. Stroll, you think you're so smart.
From our investigation we know that Heismay lost his own child. He denies being a kidnapper. He says that he has been framed because he's an Ogive. He lets himself be captured to hear the charges. The question remains, where are the children? If he did not kidnap them, then who? Heismay hears footsteps outside and I find boots of guard equipment. The group suspects the guards are behind the kidnapping with incredible few hints. A shoe and a footprint. That's it. The shoe was found in the guardhouse, you know, like evidence would. I mean, it's true, but they jump to the right conclusions very fast. This kind of important plotline should have been better written, with more conclusive evidence. They confront Morris and he says that he spotted an Ogive in the night of the kidnapping. Our group then treats this like a gotcha.
What did you say?
Strange. I don't recall the kidnappers' tribe being listed on the bounty poster. Even the captain seemed surprised, yet you alone knew this.
He's obviously our culprit.
Which by itself is not really incriminating. That Heismay was apprehended only clears his suspicion. Morris could have seen another Ogive. Also, proving someone's innocence does not automatically lead to someone else's guilt. Also, why is this a gotcha? If he does not know the tribe of the person in the first place, he also could not lie about it. It would only have been a gotcha if he said a different tribe.
Was that? Did you hear it, lad?
No, I didn't hear anything.
Now I see your game, you fiends.
What? He's gone!
Heismay!
Find him! Secure the exits! Don't let him escape!
So Heismay is following his investigation and he asks Bardon later to help him. Bardon wants the truth, and together we enter the castle in an around way. Bardon tells us that the governor Joanna is childless. During our investigation we find out that indeed the guard is behind the kidnapping. They kidnap children almost every week, and there would be no way that our deadline for solving the dungeon is based on the competition of the crown. It is. Spoilers alert. The devs just forget that each day children die. The longer we take, the more children die. And our deadline is only based on the competition, which is crazy. Because for the devs, these children do not exist. They are just NPCs. So they never thought about how our deadline would look like. That is a key problem.
'Tis why I stand here now. I ran from my past and turned away from my pain. You prey on innocent lives. Your sin will be repaid. Yet I cannot condemn you alone. Not when I could not see past my own suffering. Not when I locked myself away to be alone with my pain.
O lodestar, who falters in memory, O thou anguished traveler. Thy long stagnant stance hath finally been broken. Now choose thy path.
Choose? My choice is already made. You can't erase your past. All you can do is take it in hand and reshape your future.
Thank you. Thou hast chosen a noble parting. Henceforth, thy fears and insecurities are thy light. O lodestar, whose light reveals the king's own path, awaken.
I am Haisme Noctul. I believe the arc of life depends not upon birth. By these hands, soiled or sinless, I fight! Apologies, but I cannot do this alone.
Go! Rip them apart!
On guard! Morris, you will not escape me! Out of my way, fiends!
What's going on? He just started fighting with us. And even he awakened to his power.
Perchance 'tis through your influence that this power passed to him, Captain?
Oh, is this what Moore was talking about?
Young man, you seem the most adept with this magic. I will strike at your direction, if you might spare it. Rest assured, I once stood among the Shadow Guard, and the years have not dulled my edge. Nothing personal. Didn't work.
I can't afford to hold back. After me!
Strike true!
Hack and slash!
I stand ready!
We group outside, and now before the second dungeon I follow up with my thread, a promise, to talk about capitalism or the formulaic approach when developing video games. Metaphor is a good example, along with the Persona games, of what is currently wrong with the video game industry as a conflict between art and economics. Metaphor shares a lot of DNA with Persona, and for the reason that most people will also have played Persona, I will make this example with them. The Persona games, and especially as a series, uses a formulaic approach. Formulaic means that you follow a set of rules you create as a formula of how you work and what your work will be. Every human uses that, often subconsciously. When you do chores, homework, play video games or anything else, you have a specific approach and process that you will use almost every time. My go-to example is lawn mowing. Some people like to make tracks. I personally make a spiral. Other people will clear the grass around obstacles first, and some will mow the grass around obstacles when they come near it. But most people will have the same approach depending on a balance between making your work less tedious, easier or more efficient. You will use the same approach every time because you think this is the best way for you. When you do house cleaning, some people will start with the larger area and others like me will start with the highest cleanable area because the dirt falls down and you have less work. You decided to clean your room or house in that way and you use that every time to make it more efficient by every repeat. This is formulaic because you only have to come up with the process of cleaning or moving your lawn once. And then you have to simply do it every time. These 5 minutes of thinking are safe. Persona games are extremely formulaic. They reuse systems and content with every game. Let us create a new persona. We first have to hire an artist that will come up with a design. Then we have to come up with its weaknesses, abilities, level and stats. And then we have to put it into the game by programming the design into the new engine. The Persona games use old personas almost every time, so we can skip hiring an artist, because we already have the design. For example, the Stick Chariot, which is in most Persona games. We also know its stats, level, weaknesses. These steps we just skipped costs money. The artist will need some hours to come up with something and draw it. Some people need to discuss what a persona will be like in the game, but because we reuse all of that, it's free. At one point, some people came up with the turn-based combat system, which is reliant on exploiting weaknesses. You don't need to come up with that again, so it saves money. This formulaic approach is highly profitable, and it also makes the game predictable for both developers and consumer. We already know quite a lot about Persona 6. You will play as a second year in high school, so you have kohais and senpais. You will have a set of friends, the first will be the comic relief character, and we know there will be personas with weaknesses, and we already know 95% of all of these personas. We also know the main story. You will arrive in a new place, you will meet Igor and something that triggers your awakening. You will also have a betrayal in the story and a decision for the true or false ending. You also will kill a god at the end. You will also be able to have a relationship. You will also be a mute MF, which makes everything awkward. We know the combat system. We also know that the social links will have 10 ranks, and we also know that they will improve the combat and the persona creating and fusion, which is another mechanic we already know. As you can see, what we actually have to do is writing the characters and the story out, but most of Persona 6 is already decided and we can anticipate it with high accuracy. And all of this saves money, because they don't have to sit down and decide or invent it again. A formulaic approach is very good for economics, but the opposite is true for art. The more formulaic something is, the less art it becomes. We first need to establish what makes something more or less art. Walter Benjamin was highly influential in this conflict between art and economics. He was by today's standard a media scientist, which did not exist at the time and was driven to suicide by the Nazis. His most famous work was written in a cafe in France and is still studied today. This text forms the basis of my argument, and I will show it with an example, and I will link it in the description and you can see it on the screen. Let's say you have a favorite book or you are an author yourself. You created art. Now imagine I would take your book, sit down with a typewriter and type it down word by word. I make a perfect copy of your book. Can I now call myself an artist? Did I create art? Some people say that having a skill is a form of art, and I did in my example type it down perfectly. But even if you think that, then my typing was the art, but not the product of my typing, the book. Even if you disagree and say that copying something is also art, I think we can agree that it is lesser than creating something from scratch, right? By reproducing, we lose something Benjamin called the aura. And that is something we could say today is the uniqueness factor. If we establish that, now what does that mean for the game? Every approach that takes something existing without adding something new or putting it into a new context will be a simple reproduction, and so less or no art. When the first Mara was created, it was art. But whenever they put the persona in the consecutive games, it's not. It's just a repeated adaptation for a new system. It's an old dig. That's also why I don't like tropes in stories. Tropes are essentially publicly owned story beats that everyone can use. You could not write anything new at all and still fill a book with tropes. Now, after this explanation, most people will think that I'm against a formulaic approach, but it's not that simple. First, it makes it easier to develop a game, and you can put the money in other areas. It also is easier on the developer because they don't have to confirm everything. They already know how and what to do for the next game. A game not being high art is also fine. Most of the stuff you read is not high art. Neither is what songs you hear. There's an ongoing debate, for example, about art music versus pop music. And most books that are for entertainment are neither written well or original, but they are still entertaining, and so they fulfill their purpose. This formulaic approach is also the reason we have Metaphor in the first place, because Katsura Hashino, the developer of most Persona games and the new head of the new subdivision, Studio Zero, that developed Metaphor, could only be removed because most of all the systems are already set. The next Persona game writes and develops itself practically without any need for a new big system change. For that very reason, I find it sad that Metaphor is so similar to Persona, because it was an opportunity for an entire new game and we just got died Persona. It's not a bad game, it's just not different enough, and everyone will call this a Persona game. When Persona 6 will come out and it's bad, people will blame Hashino's departure as a reason no matter what. If the next Persona is good, it will be despite his departure. Metaphor, in my opinion, should have been vastly different to the Persona games. To make the point clear, being formulaic is fine, as long as you put the money you save during the development of mechanics and systems into other areas and not into higher profit margins, which of course we would never do in capitalism, right? During the next dungeon we will talk about bonds and introduce some. We battle through the castle and find something. This black thing attacks us if it catches up. It's not that tough, which leads you to believe you can beat it, what you absolutely can. Through the dungeon we see Morris multiple times and he gives us a stereotypical villain impression. It's always something along the lines, "You never catch me," or "This time I will be your doom." We find him together with Joanna. She's on with the kidnapping stuff and they have a comically trap set up. Just imagine building this. And why? Why would you build something like that in your cellar? If people would just go more to the left or right, no one would fall into this. If you have this kind of trap, should it not be in a small, unavoidable corridor? It's a theatrical trap, not a practical one. We are in a prison and a familiar face is also there. They take him somewhere and we don't know where. Our compatriots are with us in different cells and we free them one by one. Didn't that also happen in Persona 5? Saving money by reusing ideas, I see. We see a very disturbing children's room. Joanna is supposed to be childless, so this is odd.
This portrait, 'tis most odd as well. 'Tis common for the noblesse to have a portrait painted in celebration of their child's birth. But this one depicts neither her husband nor child.
You know, you're right. Haven't really seen many portraits of a pregnant wife alone.
So what happened was this. In the world of Metaphor, some races are inferior, but mixed races are even worse. Joanna got pregnant with someone from a different tribe. She had a baby, but her family was against it and murdered the boy. So in her grief, she adopted this.
This monster. Is it a human?
This is the child you hold so dear? So, all the victims you kidnapped?
Oh, my darling has a hearty appetite. I had Morris deliver us food. Were you able to secure a meal?
Well,
Ah, useless! You have failed to eliminate the bounty hunters, and now you've let Heisme himself here. But no matter. You look tender enough for my darling's liking.
What?
This is your child. It just devoured a man. All I see is a mindless monster.
And a monster is what I see when I look upon the world. People are beasts of fear and superstition, murderers without remorse. I have done nothing they've not done to me. Abominations. They are the unnatural. They deserve to die. They should all be so glad to nourish my child. My dear, sweet child. A mother's love should nurture, but this is beyond the pale.
And you? Do you not condemn her? She kidnapped children, murdered them in cold blood, and would see you blamed for it.
In truth, I know this woman's pain all too well.
Huh?
In the name of her child, she was willing to turn against the entire world. Behind her atrocities, I see the devotion of a bereaved parent. You found yourself unjustly in a terrible darkness, and I struggle to blame you. Burying your own child is unbearable. Grief and madness fill the gaps where love had been.
Darling, are you still hungry? Mother wants you to play with your food!
This human is for me probably the most disturbing one. It looks awesome, but is otherwise fast being taken care of. After the defeat, Heismate tells the story of his child.
Not long ago, I too had a child. But I couldn't protect him. It was in a nearby village. Some paripus started a riot, and my son was caught in the middle of it. They beat him until he was barely recognizable. Even bloodied and battered, he clung to life. But his body was broken. He couldn't move. And not a single person came to his aid. He was a Ujif, and to them, that's all he was. But he was a helpless child, left to die in a pool of his own blood. By the time I finally got to him, it had been hours. It was too late.
I had no idea.
I couldn't abide it. Reality was too painful, and I ran until I was spending my nights and days in the sandworm's pit.
If I could have sacrificed my life instead, I swear I would have done it! I loved my son with all of my heart!
I know! Nobody could ever deny you that!
Do you recall the promise I made when first we met? I pledged my political support if you were able to solve this matter. I fear that after all this, it is a boon I can no longer provide. But if you need a head to present to the judges, perhaps it could be my own.
Holy shit, he just rose to place first in the bond ranking. Our plan changes now. Instead of presenting Heismate, we're presenting Joanna. Our goal is to make a splash, so giving them Joanna as a governor of the church, Lewis' enemies, will have an impact. What I don't get is how our characters are just convinced after a 2-minute speech that Joanna is a changed person. She could be playing this and say, when we arrive, these people kidnapped me. And why would anyone believe us instead of this church woman? She is high ranking, while we belong to the inferior tribes. It will work out, but we should instead have a written confession and her actual head. And not taking chances. But the devs never thought about this, so our characters behave soulless. After some free time, we make our way to the next city, Prilehaven. A lot of people are here to witness the competition. This results in us not finding any lodging. So for some strange reason, we get a place inside something like an old stable with rats. In meat, the devil eat flies. It's not like we have something like a gauntlet runner with bats. In the tavern, we make direct contact with Bedlin, the town crier. He's a friendly guy, even though he's on the church's paycheck. He wants to get first-hand information from us, but we decline. In our stable, we find out that Hazme is scared of bugs. His race Ogive is very interesting as it does incorporate many rodents, not just uniformly one species. He resembles a bat, which normally eat bugs. The time to present our hunt comes.
Better known as the Miracle Saint, healer of all ills, presenting the lovely Lady Rella Cygnus!
Saint? Who's this? Someone fill me in. I've been literally living in a hole.
A brilliant healer. We've met, though a long time ago. Even as a student, she was already considered the kingdom's best in her field.
As many present monsters, we instead present Joanna, which upsets the church and in accordance to our plan, amuses Louis. Now here's a problem. Why do we trust her? She could as well said we kidnapped her. Then everyone would hate and kill us. We would have no standing and almost no supporters. We also have no hard evidence for her wrongdoings, but we already solved her story, so the writers have no concern of what could happen after, and so our characters are not prepared for any other outcome. We should at least worry or discuss it. Luckily for us, she confesses and loses her head. We get congratulated by Louis after.
Not bad, pups.
We were passing on the course of a human hunt. You gave a most distinctive showing.
I suppose you're worth introducing ourselves to. I'm Fidelio, that's Basilio. Luis's right-hand men, see?
And now you walk with a Ujif at your side. Each ally of a different tribe. Fascinating. Better to have dependable friends than familiar ones. Something we've got in common. Not only did you expose a failing of the Sanctus Church, but you dared to bring her alive so Forden himself could do the grisly part before all his flock.
That was not our intent.
Oh, same idea, yeah? A real person's head gets more eyes on you than some decapitated beast. And now you're the names on everyone's lips, aren't you?
We get another villain scene which are odd. They break the viewpoint of the game and gives us insight with no knowledge. With that I mean they don't amount to anything. These would be interesting if the villains were not so one-dimensional. They are greedy and want more money and power. That's all they talk about, that's all they want. Seeing them is useless. In the local club we meet Louis, two henchmen, Fidelio and Basilio.
Well, look who it is. Appreciate you coming out.
So it was you two.
You expected us to roll out the red carpet right into our headquarters. Consider this a pre-show. Still, you really are just a kid, aren't you?
And you're one to talk?
I wouldn't go having a laugh at me big brother's expense. That's when I get to step in. Make some points from my own life.
You are brothers. And he is the elder?
And here I thought the Magnus brothers' name was making the rounds. Shame that. It's fine. First offense and all won't kill you yet. Besides, Lord Luis has taken quite a shine to you lot. Already got more accomplished than that Gladel ever did. You seem like the types to make yourselves useful.
Not many get Ardel's blessing. It's worth celebrating that. For now. You're in.
Someone like you should already know what it's like. The minority tribes face walls and barriers everywhere they look in society. Our greatest hope rides with Master Luis. We'll do whatever it takes to make him king, and starting today, so will you.
We are now officially aligned with Luis. Our mission in the city is to infiltrate Luis' vessel to find out about the curse that he put on the prince. We first get invited by Luis and see the layout and talk with him.
It is clear no small conviction drives you. Perhaps keeping you close will prove useful. You, assembled company, I hereby permit you to enter my service.
We are much obliged.
On August 13th, I intend to hold a soiree in this city. It seems a fine opportunity for you to make your debut in my retinue.
Very exclusive, see? Only for those good enough to be part of our campaign. You should feel honored.
As my gauntlet runner requires some maintenance, the party shall be held at the feast hall where I'm staying. In the meantime, do as you will.
After we leave, Gallica searches the vicinity for clues to the curse and sees Juna, the songstress, carrying some books and thinks it's related to the curse and informs the party. What now follows is the weirdest and hardest and probably also the worst dungeon in the game. We have to sneak in, Metal Gear style, knocking people down from behind, but we still, for some stupid reason, confront the bosses directly and fight them. There are only bosses in this dungeon and no small enemies. This creates a problem. If you are stuck, you cannot level up or regain MP. The boss in this area actually has a reflect barrier, which makes it almost impossible. I need more tries on this than anything in this game, because I did not prepare for this very specific enemy. Why did we do this? Well, on the last day of this arc, we will infiltrate the ship and need to secure a route. Maybe a call to Persona 5. However, all of this is weapons crate stupid. All of it. I talked a lot already about how soulless the NPCs are in this game, where the devs just don't care how a real world would work and what real people would do. This is another prime example. It's now 20 days till the party and no one misses 4 high-ranking officers. On the bridge, we first lured the people away before killing the captains. So how would that work? The crew comes back and sees all these combat traces. Their officers dead or missing, and this never comes up to Lewis? No one talks about this or raises alarm. It just works because for the devs, the officers and all memories of them vanish as soon as we are done with this part of the story. As long as someone has no portrait, all cruelties done to them does not count. The only people in this world are named with a portrait. Another problem is why we kill these officers, because they have keys which allows us to access other parts of the ship. So how does the file and rank enter? Shouldn't every soldier on deck have these keys then? Can't we just steal one of them when they get to the canteen or use the toilet? For the devs, only the officers carrying keys is fine because they did not think how the actual logistics of such a ship would work. After 20 days, the party starts. Claudel does his best impression of a jealous little brother and we go off to infiltrate. So any reasonable person would rightfully ask, why we? We are the face and leader of the group, a king candidate. Surely the protagonist would be missed from the party, but not one of his henchmen. The answer is simple, because there is no answer. It's stupid. We should send someone else and keep the attention on us, but the game has to keep the player in control of the protagonist. So there is, with this restriction, no other option. Also, we are mute. Our companions can talk, but we can't. So if we stayed while others would go, it would be very awkward, like older social rings. This is how these design decisions make the story actively worse. The devs just can't do what would be the best option. Stroll, who really is more the face of the group, talks with Louise.
Where are you from? Have you heard of a village called Harlia?
Certainly. It was the first village to be destroyed by the human menace.
Only because help never came. They requested reinforcements, but the army wouldn't spare a single soldier. Are the rumors true that was by your decision?
That is true.
But why?
To save this country.
Stroll!
The Fool King and the fossils of the Sanctus Church refused to face the threat looming over this country. An adequately dramatic demonstration was required. They say you could see Harlia burning as far as the palace battlements. Confronted with that balefire, those old men could no longer deny the human threat.
Your balefire cost hundreds of innocent lives.
Do I offend you? Are you repulsed? Surely it helps you realize that you can protect nothing without power. The natural blessings you enjoyed are not infinite. Few have the luxury of living with no need to struggle and harm just to survive. But our nation would have you believe such hardship is born of moral weakness. So the punished are punished further. They die in silence like livestock. Their reality denied. It defies reason. All people deserve the chance to fight for their lives with their lives. Some will fall, some will triumph, and therein is true equality forged, however cruel.
We use our sword to skateboard over the airship. Okay, I haven't explained that yet, because it's again weird. We got a magical sword from the prince and we use it as a skateboard, which is 10% faster than running, so I never used it. I will also never again unless I accidentally press the button. We arrive at Louise's room and search for the spell, but get interrupted by Juna.
Gallica? Your name is Gallica? Wait, does this mean... So you're here for...
So what Juna is implying here will be later revealed. Juna is another agent sent to support the prince, and Gallica knows this. You first thought maybe, why did it never come up, and why didn't we know about this? There's an actual answer for both. The latter will be revealed near the end. The first is simple. A secret agent is only useful as long as they are secret. Talking about this non-stop or gossiping might risk getting the fact out to the wrong person. However, while that might be a good reason for a secret not to come up, it is not for this game. We are talking non-stop in taverns, stables or streets about our mission. We show our fucking book to everyone and tell that the prince is alive and all of that stuff. So there is no excuse, and I'm not letting that go. It's bad. A lot will happen here, so let me abridge that.
Behave now. I'd hate to stick you through that precious throat of yours. You know, I didn't expect you to actually bother to come. The songbird baited the trap nicely after all. I suppose that settles it. The rats were working together. Must be quite a story behind this. But more importantly, time and time again, you dragged my name through the mud. And now look who's the traitor.
So what's the matter? Are you too scared to fight him alone?
A duel? Have it your way. Come then, we'll do this right.
Well, that worked better than I expected. Well, you're not invincible!
Damn you! What's going on here?
Still, now that I've seen their power a few times, maybe I can do it myself.
Very well, O lodestar who wanders in sorrow. O thou anguished traveler who hath borne the weight of parting from the start. Henceforth, thy fears and insecurities become thy light. Thou art the brilliant star that shall illuminate the King's Road. Now, awaken.
Look at me! What you see now is my commitment to my song! Behold, my voice rises from the depths of my heart!
I give. Please. I'll not say a word about you sneaking in. Just spare my life, I beg you.
What do we do? If we let him run off, he's obviously going to rat us out.
But killing him would give us a lot to explain. Maybe we should work out some kind of deal.
Idiots! It's the oldest trick in the book! Why? What's happening? No. I'm the future king. I can't breathe. Why?
So we defeat Claudel, and it seems that as a duel we are allowed to harm the king candidates. Claudel gets killed by the king's magic, because we, as the protagonist, can't kill a defeated enemy that has a portrait and spoke to us. That was always the case in all the Persona games. They always kill themselves or give up or get killed by other means. Then Basilio and Fidelio see us, and Juna vouches for us that Claudel attacked her and we protected her. She joins us, of course, and Gallica, very weirdly, inserts herself into the conversation, like a last-minute thought of the developers. Oh yeah, we have to progress the main quest bond.
Well, didn't see that coming. But I guess we've got another ally now. Our journey looked pretty precarious at first, but it's gone surprisingly smoothly. I'll do my best to help too. Let's see this through.
Juna refers us regarding the curse to her stepsister Rella, who's stuck in the church. To make it short, she cannot help us, and we now know our only way to help the prince is to defeat Louise. Rella is, by the way, a saint of the church. We return to our runner and of course show Juna our cool book. Look how someone else made something up that's pretty sweet. It's a weird flex. Batlin recaps the current affairs of the race.
To recap, the 20 candidates with the current highest approval on the King's Rock will be the only ones to proceed. All others will be disqualified. I'd say the results of the exhibition are sure to have spread by now. Let's have a look at the standings, shall we? In first place, the undisputed winner, bane of sea monsters and savior of the people, our very own Sanctifex Forden! And the traitor Louis in second, despite not actually being in the race. Now, at long last, we are ready to announce their next challenge. This time, the task for the candidates is recovering and offering a divine relic!
What? A relic?
What the fuck are you wearing?
Tragically, there are still heathens in this land who choose to reject sanctism. They care nothing for salvation. They cling to strange idols, calling them divine relics, believing them gifts from their eldritch gods. But their rituals are unstable, and their relics just primitive magic tools.
They're unabashedly ordering them to steal relics from pagan land now. That's plunder! They would steal our very culture!
That candidate's a Mustari. Small wonder he's so aghast. Forden's stooping to a new low. By and large, the Mustari are a pagan people. Their relics are cultural touchstones, vital to their hearts and faiths. And Forden's just ordered us to loot them as we please.
Now, as part of Louise's group, he orders us to obtain the artifact, and his two aides will later join us, as they don't trust the group. We talk to the dogs of a Mustari candidate, who tells us something quite interesting.
So said my studies, at least.
Oh, far from it. Divine relics aren't primitive in the least. That's just Sanctus propaganda. Really, it's the opposite. Most of these relics are powerful beyond belief, and igniters are just our crude imitations of them. If you'd ever seen one yourself, you'd know the difference. They don't call them divine for nothing. With powers like that, they might as well have come from the gods.
To be fair, we are looking for one. The only relic we know by name right now is Draco Dios.
The lance of the dragon god. So that's why you came up to me. I suppose anyone would want our homeland's greatest treasure. The lance is no secret we're trying to hide. Truly, I hope mainlanders come by the scores to see it. Our village is on an island in the World Tree's embrace, where the dragon god sleeps. On a clear day, you can see it from this land.
We asked him because we want to find out more about an artifact called the Dragon Lance. He's not very keen because we essentially gonna ransack his homeland. The Mustari are three-eyed people and live on an archipelago, where the Virgo Islands are the largest. This is where we are headed. Nurus transformed the Gauntlet Runner to a boat and we can sail there. For now, we will make a short break here and talk about the different tribes in this world. There are not many interesting ones because usually they are just humans with a gimmick. But for a general ranking, the Clemars come first. Stroll is one of them and has these horns, and they are average in physical and magical abilities. After that, the Rosant tribe, which Halkenberg is part of. Long ears and strong physics. The Rohak are next, and Quios was part of this tribe. Their gimmick is that they have long lifespans, double the amount of the rest. These tribes are at the top. The next ones are not actively persecuted, but they don't have it that good. The Ishkia tribe has small wings and Nurus is part of that. They have high intelligence. The Nydia tribe are in the 5th place and they are liked for their performances and as entertainers. They are cunning and have high emotional intelligence. They have another gimmick which is not well thought of, but that will be only revealed in Juna's Bond. The last ones are at the bottom line and have it rough. The system treats them unfairly, the justice system does not protect them and they have no chances at upward mobility. The world in general is upheld by conservative forces, trying to stifle progress, upheld traditions and preserve the status quo. For that reason, let me state Wilhoit's law. Conservatism consists of exactly one proposition, to wit, there must be in-groups whom the law protects but does not bind, alongside out-groups whom the law binds but does not protect. The tribes up till now were in the in-group and the following are the out-group. That does not mean there are no rankings between those groups, but looking at it from Wilhoit's law perspective, we can draw a line here that helps us to better understand the system of this society. The paribus, which even my autocorrect has something against because it autocorrected them to paribugs, are the animal-eared ones, and are the game's go-to example for racism. Whenever we are told people are treated unfairly, the game will always show paribus for the simple reason they are by far the most populous tribe of the outgroup. They are cheerful, with good physique and carefree. Louis 2/8 are part of that group. Their animal traits are part of different species, like cats or dogs, but in general more of pets. And no, the horses missing is no mistake. Horses are no pets. They are sources of clue and misery. The Ogive are probably the strangest one from their looks. They all resemble rodents and have abilities associated with their rodent origin. Heismay is based on a bat and can hear very well and has high agility. The Mustari are island people with 3 eyes. We will see later more of them. They have a different religion than the other tribes and high perception. They can also see Makla, like Gallica, which is the reason our screen looks so weird, by the way. The last tribe are the Elder, which are most human-like. In game, they are suffering the most under racism, but they are also rare, so that many people think they are legends, which are 2 factors that don't really make sense together. It's like being racist against Bigfoot. This is a short overlook over all the races, and for a better understanding we will now do some bonds with them. More. His bond is not progressed by spending time with him, but with progression, reaching a certain level in the archetypes for example. Moore's goal is to find out more about why he was locked in here. After reaching the different milestones we get more abilities, like later changing archetypes from menu, which makes Moore obsolete. After some communist handshakes, he suspects that the king hid him away because of his research for the archetypes, which are contradictory to the Sanctus Church. Which is a very basic assumption. If I research stock markets and suddenly I'm locked and hidden away for years, I will without help at some point wonder if my research was the cause. Moore kinda feels like he was not existing until the protagonist made contact, which in terms of spoilers could be true. Some more memories get unlocked, and Moore suspects that he was researching archetypes because of someone else. Later he will suspect that he's in a classroom of the now closed Magic Academy. Our last Bond interaction is more of a summary of what we did find out. While the Bond ends here, more story will continue in the main quest. You might think I left out a lot, but that's not really true, it's just short. These interactions have a lot of text but very little to say, which is a stable problem in the series. These 2 words should not go together.
That you and I met was no coincidence. Everything has been connected from the beginning. If the hypothesis I've reached is correct, my memory will soon return in full, and I will gladly tell you all. Yes, though there is one memory I know for certain, beyond speculation. The reason why I wrote the fantasy novel. I mentioned once that in my youth, I went on a journey. I met many people in my travels, and it is for their sakes that I wrote my tale, as an ideal I hoped to make true.
Do you help out every day?
It's lots and lots of work, but it's fun too. Plus, I like when people say I'm clever, so I've got to work really, really hard. Papa always says not to go into his room, so I wait for him a lot. I'm good at waiting.
Our first bond with Maria is while her father is still alive. We show her our cool book and become friends with a communist handshake. Our second interaction is understandable darker. Fabienne says that she is holed up in her room and asks us to cheer her up. Maria tries to put up a front but soon remembers her father. She asks some local kids to stop scribbling on the floor of the inn and gets shoved. They say there is a rumor of a half-blood kid around, which means Maria. Half-bloods are the very bottom of the hierarchy, and Maria does not understand why people are mean to her just because of how she was born. We promise to play again and bring the mudblood home. We promised her to show pictures of our travels, which are some of the more magical and beautiful moments of the game. On our way we see a Paribus boy. He's weak due to starvation. His family is dead and Maria wonders if her family is also dead and she's alone, but we reassure her and feed the boy. Next, Maria helps in the inn and messes up and a customer gets angry. If an adult man gets this angry at a child messing up, I think this disqualifies him from being alive. But let's ignore that. Maria is sad and thinks she has to earn her keep because she has no more family. Fabienne assures her that she is her mother, blood related or not. She will take care of her, further solidifying her position as the best girl. We accompany Maria to the church where her father died, and Maria wants to make a new inn sign for Fabienne. The work is actually done by Nurus, but Fabienne thanks us with a meal, and Maria is happy. We congratulate her with a communist handshake. I'm sorry, okay? I can't let that bit go. You can see it too, right? Tell me you can see it too. Next, Maria tries to make friends with some other children by showing her cool picture. I think she got that from us because we show our book to everyone. The last bond will be Maria giving out a lot of food for the poor and being a happy little girl. At the end of the game we get a bonus bond, which is just a summary of what we did.
Sharundo? Who's that?
That boy who drew on the walls. We played together the other day. You know, all of these good things happen because of you, mister. You gave me those pictures of your journey, remember? When I look at these pictures, I imagine your voice in my head saying, "Just do your best." I like it when you're here, and sometimes I'm still lonely when you're not around, but I'm not going to ask you not to go.
May I join your cause? I heard of your trials at the fort, and considering all I've seen and heard, Luis clearly aims to seize the throne. Allow me to lend my blade. Even if we can put the man down, if we can't save the heir to the throne, it would be all for naught. Until the day His Highness, the prince's life is saved. I will fight through all obstacles.
We'd be happy to have you. But are you sure?
It is but another leg on my own long journey, and now I may travel in good company. What say you?
Hulkenberg starts with the first quest. We walk through the town and Hulkenberg tells us about how she joined the Royal Knights and how she left after failing to protect the prince. When we take a stroll to the town, we meet an old acquaintance from Hulkenberg. His name is Rodante. He now supersedes Hulkenberg in rank and became an asshole. We later witness him executing people. He likes using authority and calls Hulkenberg fallen. Hulkenberg in turn is upset that a knight has become an executioner instead of protecting the weak. While writing this, I'm skipping a lot of Bond events because Hulkenberg is very boring. It's just all the time, I'm not sure I can judge, should I do something? There is no development, it's just constant insecurity. After she finally grows a pair, she challenges Rodante to a duel. She loses and gets beheaded and Rodante becomes our new party member. I'm joking, of course, she wins. He has now to stop the executions, which was the wager of the duel, which is not a power he has. You might as well bet with a cop that if you win he will abolish traffic stops. Both Rodante and cops are part of the executive and don't make the rules, he cannot change this. She wins and that's it. She's happy serving the royal family again and that she met us. Bottom tier Bond.
My duel with Rodanthe left much clear. I proved I am not the woman I once was. It can only be the journey thus far that has changed me. You've helped me grow as a new person. Never again will I wield my power only to hide my own sense of inferiority. My convictions shall lead me, and I shall fight by their strength. Thus, I vow anew to use my power for you.
Ah, this is so cozy. I feel alive again.
It's certainly better than freezing. Reminds me of when I was a child. Back then, I wouldn't have been caught dead out in the wilderness like this. Countryside nobility like us had no fortune to speak of. My parents bowed and smiled for their money, and honestly, I despised them for it. Back then, I thought being a noble was about, I don't know, a life of prestige, being respected. But one spring 7 years ago, our town was attacked by this horrific creature. A human. Though I'd no idea at the time. I was evacuated alongside the servants while the rest of the town burned. I waited for my parents to join us in the shelter, but they would never come. The parents I'd so despised had stayed behind to protect the villagers who couldn't flee.
Stroll's story starts with Krios and us sitting at a bonfire. During his story, we find the people from his village living on the street. We ask a rich person to provide shelter, but they refuse. We talk to the village elder and he says that Stroll should have some inheritance. We visit the old village and Stroll tells us that after his parents' death he was shuffled between relatives. In the village we find some clues to the inheritance. We get help from a trader, who directs us to the same rich person from before. He wants to give us land where are already people living. Farmland, mind you. But we decline as we don't want to displace other people or sow conflict. Just to make it clear, just a few dozen people would probably be fine. However, we used the inheritance we finally got with the help of the merchant to buy homes in the capital, where our people can stay. Which is of course not that well thought of. The devs thought of one problem and then offered one solution, in this case homelessness. But by giving a setting that might as well occur in the real world, they also reveal their narrow view on this. People flew into larger cities because of protection and because begging is more successful there as refugees. We are of course speaking about the medieval ages. These are former farmers, hoofsmiths, toolmakers, carpenters. Giving them houses does only solve the symptom of a lack of income. It would have been far better to acquire farmland, because they know what to do with that. I even doubt that most of them can read. They now live in nice houses in the capital, but won't get any money because they can't work. What should a carrot farmer do right in the middle of the capital? This is a constant problem with the writing. The writer oversimplifies problems and does not grasp the full picture.
Someday I will restore our home. Everyone will come back to live in peace, and I won't let anyone take it from us, ever again. But this isn't about my family. This tragedy must never be allowed to be repeated anywhere. On my pride as a noble, I swear it.
At the first dungeon we meet a Paribus woman named Katarina. She's a well-known mercenary and searches for her friend. We find her friend's corpse and she thanks us and promises to help.
What? You joking? You only helped me because you recognized me, yeah? You really don't know? I'm Katharina, the bounty hunter. And you just helped a Paribus without expecting anything in return? Doesn't that just take the cake?
She will later reappear in dungeons and gives us battle support. Also, bunny girls are cheating. During the game we fight her sometime, beat her, then have a bonding event. She becomes the most prominent king candidate for the Paribus. She promises to make things better for her people, which during her story gets more extreme. Not she, mind you, but her supporters. They will rob people of other tribes and she finds that hard to deal with. Katarina just wanted to make things better, not other tribes worse. At the end she reconciles with her people and with her feelings.
I'll do my best to live up to your expectations.
Good, because I'll be holding my breath. But I won't be sitting on my hands either. Not that we'll rely too much on you. It's gonna have to be a team effort. Though, I guess in an ideal world, we wouldn't need kings. One king can't make the world a better place. It takes everyone to pull that off.
All I do is show everyone the me I want to be. It's the audience who sees that and feels what they do about it that makes me a songstress. It sounds cryptic, I know, but watch close and you'll see what I mean. Right, my good man?
Juna asks us to be her escort for concerts. We find a young fan and Juna tells us that her tribe, the Nydia, has some secret stuff going on. We also have a gig coming up where Juna shall sing. If you are seeing this, you are probably thinking the same as me. Oh no. There is another girl named Myrtus who's upset. She was supposed to be the main act. This famous singer suddenly coming along and upstaging her is fair criticism. However, she is very toxic about it. Myrtus says she will spread Erica flowers on stage, which Juna fears. Juna sings at the concert and we meet Myrtus. She did not throw flowers because when Juna sang, she was not only moved but also devastated, because she thinks that she will never reach her. Suddenly a weird man gives Juna a drink and Myrtus warns us not to drink it. He was giving these out for the singers and Myrtus felt sick after drinking it, so she warned us. The drink is made of Erica flowers. Juna tells us that she was kidnapped and enslaved as a young child. When Juna is in stress, she transforms back to her original appearance. This is a pretty big and stupid reveal. First, the Nydia tribe all look like children, but use Makla bodies to change their appearance. It makes them physically bigger, which is pretty big magic, I think. Also, why can't they change their appearance completely, not just an adult version of their younger selves? This is a secret. Everyone outside the tribe does not know this. How? First of all, there are Nydia people enslaved. Should the enslavers not notice? Also, having a whole tribe keeping the secret for hundreds of years is not possible. At one point, one member of that tribe will speak out, sell it, or show it to a loved one. There is no way this can be a collective secret of a whole race for generations. Still, it is an interesting trait of the tribe and feeds into the larger main story as it makes something more believable. Juna becomes friends with Myrtus and that's the bond. There was not much going on, but the big reveal made it worth it. It showed more of the tribe, which I wished for other bonds would have been the same, but it isn't.
All right, enough of that. Tonight we drink. You're stuck with me until the dawn breaks.
We get back to our quest for the Dragon Lance, the artifact of the Mustari. We get later attacked by a sea monster and save Fidelio's life. We arrive at the island and for some insane reason want to sneak in. Remember that some of the Mustari just told their homeland, be careful, they made ransacking our place a competition. So we make not the best case for ourselves. Our mission is finding out more about the Dragonlance. And yeah, we get captured.
Mainlanders! You're not of this island!
Wait, listen!
Seize them!
Some people might know the term diegetic, which means that the music the viewer hears is also part of the medium, so also hearable by the in-game people. This is opposed to most music scores in most media, as it is for the audience only. The term is mostly used for music, but actually means all forms of stuff that can be experienced between the fourth wall. So for example, the characters can see what the audience sees. This is for most media redundant, that's why you only notice it with music. In a lot of animes and anime-adjacent games, the authors like to use something that is visually non-diegetic. A set piece for dramatic effects. The characters cannot see something unless the audience sees it. I think it's mostly stupid because it destroys immersion and the believability of the world, but for some reason the devs might achieve the right result. The audience is at the same time surprised as the characters are, and so they feel a sense of unity. So, why am I talking about this? Well?
By the way, Anyone else find it strange that they recognized a candidate at a glance? I wasn't expecting news to travel this far.
Probably my fault, I'm afraid. They had a lot of questions, and they weren't, gentle about asking. Well, fancy meeting you here.
The effect is lost on me. I think the characters should have seen him when they entered the cave or when they sat down. We see Edeni, the leader of the tribe, talking to his people.
Don't be alarmed, everyone. Please remain calm.
Master Edeni.
There are trespassers upon our island, from ships other than the trade vessels. But we have already captured them. Reportedly, one is a candidate, and one is a crier from the Sanctus Church. They seek Dracodios, the lance of the dragon god.
Our livestock are all maddened by disease. Our seas are infested with grotesque horrors. And now, even our fields lie dead and fallow. The dragon god must be appeased, else we shall never survive his wrath. When disaster strikes, we offer a sacrifice to the dragon god that he might ease our woes. It is the most basic of our teachings.
My brother, do not fear. I have just purified myself for the spring. I'm ready to serve as our people's sacrifice.
Yufa.
I am a priestess. I have known from birth that my life's greatest impact would be as an offering to the dragon god. Indeed, it brings me great pride. I can serve my village in a way the priestesses in times of peace could not. If our island might be saved, I will gladly give my life for it.
Sounds like we better hurry and bail our new crewmates out. All this stink in the square probably means less guards on duty.
Ugh. Come on, Del, we can't leave him high and dry.
The fair lady Juna likes him, don't she?
And the fair lady's the only one we have to rescue.
Awful cold, Del.
Not getting attached now, are you? You knew going in they might be our traitors. Look, you want to work together, then let me do the thinking, right? I've got all this under control. Oh.
Hey, Del, you're not still hurting from the sea battle, are you?
We get saved by the two Paribus. We flee from the cave and randomly in a giant forest we find Edeni, who asks us to help his sister who got to the temple to sacrifice herself. So our base is this island for now, and we have again some days to free Yufa, which of course we do immediately. At the temple our party suspects that the Sanctus Church does not want knowledge of the temple to reach others, which does not make much sense, because it requires the church to investigate the ruins first, which they clearly did not. They don't know what's in there. As we approach the temple, Fidelio seems hurt and he has an infected leg from the human from before. For the rest of this dungeon, he and Basilio will be in care for his leg. Conveniently, so we don't have to bother with secrecy, not like we did that before. The temple has murals of the old world, which looks a lot like the modern world. We gather some information from these murals. First, it's from a very long time ago. The world was destroyed by flames, and they had a big war where they used dragons and monsters for combat. Also later that the Mustari origined from this, and that they also created the Dragonlance. We meet Yufa.
What? There's someone here.
It's you. I believe we met at the spring? My name is Euphazia. I am priestess of the dragon god, but you may call me Yufa, if it pleases you. But more importantly, why are you here?
Edeni asked us to help you. We're here in the stead of the island soldiers.
So my brother is safe. Thank goodness. Then I trust your word. Please, help me complete the ritual for the island.
Wait, girl. We want no part of this sacrifice. We're here to take you back.
'Twas your brother's own behest. If you doubt us, then you may seek your answers from him.
My brother would have you stop me. But why?
This is so crazy to think he doesn't want his sister to die.
But what happens if I return? The island's Magla royals. Our people are tormented by horrors from the sea. Even our herds are being driven to madness. The chaos must be quelled. And if I stand as sacrifice, no one else will need to.
A fire burns in you, girl. It's a valor any knight would be proud to wield. And I should know. But if you're to risk your life, Shouldn't it be for something certain?
Is all this really happening because of that dragon god?
What? But the perils that grip the island, they are born of the same magic that floods this temple.
We've seen the same phenomenon across the nations. This affliction isn't isolated to your islands.
Even so, surely...
How about this then? We'll get you safely to the altar, and see what we can figure out there. You know where it is, don't you?
Well, yes.
Let's see what's really going on back there for ourselves. We've got business with this lance of yours too.
She will accompany us, but if we return or leave, she will stay. Then we come to the second part of the ruin, and it looks like a skyscraper, confirming that Metaphor is a post-apocalyptic game. However, we should be able to see that from the outside. This is not underground. After a while, we see more murals that thou staubed in Yufa's conviction. We find the boss, and a human has infected the dragon.
You would have me abandon this end. You would send me away to live my life. But how? How can I? This is all I have. Please. You can't take my purpose away from me.
I must apologize. I was wrong to assume. I was quick to judge. But your rights are not acts of barbarism. Yours is a proud heart. But still, see the truth. Is this your god? A god who demands martyrs, who desires tragedy. Is that truly a god worthy of your devotion and faith?
Arise now, priestess! Have you come here only to be saved? Or will you find purpose beyond death, to stand and fight as a savior?
I want to!
O lodestar, ye torn maiden of faith, O thou anguished traveler. Thy long stagnant stance hath finally been broken. Now choose thy path.
I love that island. I love the smell of its verdant flora. But what I love more than anything is its people. Their words may be coarse, but their hearts are true. I must save them! Please!
Thank you. Thou hast chosen a noble parting. Henceforth, thy fears and insecurities become thy light. O lodestar, whose light reveals the king's own path, awaken!
If I cannot save them in death, then I swear I'll protect them with my life!
We defeat the boss, of course, and find out that the priestess' role was to fight the dragon. The human infesting the dragon left, and we follow it. Yufa now permanently joins us, and she reveals a bombshell. The lance is able to destroy protective magla, which means the king's magic protecting the king candidate. You know, that insane powerful magic that will kill you without fail. Well, we don't believe it, and the group, like madmen, try it out. Stroll takes the weapon and attacks the protagonist. Of course it works, but the devs totally forgot to look at this scenario with the eyes of the characters, because what if it didn't? Stroll would be dead. Imagine you wanna test if a knife is dull and you slit your throat. From the story perspective, this opens up new options. We can assassinate Louis, but we also need to hand in the dragon lance, so we decide to make a copy. We now get the old routine with showing her our goods. In our free time we pursue our different bonds, and I will show you some again.
Remember those winning strategies I mentioned? Well, the first lesson starts now. I imagine you've led a rather rough life, considering the tribe you hail from. The world is full of unsavory sorts. That's why if you want to improve your life, you must never show a scoundrel mercy. If you're made a fool, you must pay it back in spades. Kindness is weakness, and the weak get robbed blind.
We meet Alonso first in Matira sitting down. He gives us a side quest. He's a trickster and we see him cunning some people for their money. He wants to teach us deception, which is completely wasted on us, but okay. He teaches us some basic stuff and then tells us that he has something big coming up. A large landowner wants to expand and he wants to trick him. It also turns out that the land the guy owns is Alonso's hometown. Alonso was raised by his mother alone and she got tricked by fraudsters. And so Alonso decided that he will be the one doing the stealing and gives his mother a better life. Which sounds nice. However, the landowner found out about Alonso's scheme and sets the village ablaze. Which does not make much sense. It's his village. We arrive there and see Alonso's mother in her dying moments, still caring for her son. She got killed by the guy's henchman. The villagers are upset because it's Alonso's fault that the landowner burned the village, which is victim blaming. Like a father beating his children and complaining that the children made him do this. Alonso is down in the dumpster and we shear him up, and he now swears revenge. We find the guy and Alonso kidnapped his daughter, which is kinda refreshing to be on the bad side in these games. Alonso looked into the landowner's past and found out that he was an upstanding man, but succumbed to the system and is now an oppressor that cannot help people anymore because the underlying system is broken. Alonso thinks that the guy who killed his mother and burned his and some other villagers to the ground is actually a good guy who's being forced to do evil, which is cute and wrong. We don't hold a Nuremberg trial and instead want to help him break free. The next scene is the landowner catching Alonso and killing him while we watch. We will see Alonso later. The story is very planned in that regard. I mean, it's a trickster faking his own death. Wow, come on guys, clap for this original piece of work. What I find more problematic is our response. From the narrative, we don't know Alonso's scheme that will help him and the landowner. We do believe Alonso is getting killed, and our character just stands by and lets that happen. The devs who wrote this does not understand our character's perspective and their motivations. He knows that Alonso is alive, so there is no need for the protagonist to defend him. But from our point of view, from our protagonist's point of view, there is a 0% chance that we would let that happen, because our character is throughout the story portrayed as someone who would help Alonso. There is no way we would let that happen if we are thinking that Alonso is getting killed, which we do. This breaks character in such a way that you can call it a plot hole. Or does anyone watching this really think that the protagonist would stand by? Of course not. Anyway, Alonso is free, along with the landowner, and they live happily, reminiscing about the time he killed Alonso's mother.
Fiction has its role to play in supporting people. Like with you in that book you hold so dear, yes? But there comes a time in all lives where reality starts to give chase. It closes in on us eventually. So when that time comes, well, if that time comes, we'll run from it for as long as we can. Is that so wrong? Of course not. It all comes back to weakness. But it's weakness that makes people interesting. I find it endearing. Should you ever have need of deception, you can rely on me. I'll be at your service, no matter where or when.
And let me say it again. The town is safe now thanks to you. Couldn't be more grateful to you.
Pardon! I heard you fixed up the hole in my shop's wall while I was gone. I could kiss you.
Why, 'twere no trouble at all. Your bonny wife had need of help, and we all have need of your shop.
Well, that may be, but I never knew a captain to be so generous.
My only wish is to render assistance in any way I can. Whatever wee matters I can take care of, I will. Even if they might not turn out as well as yours did.
The guard captain we met during the main quest, Bardon, has a problem. He needs to lead his people in absence of the governor and is out of his wits. Some people want to self-govern, and he personally thinks that someone from the clergy would be best in charge. We tell him that he is also popular, which makes him reconsider in being the leader. In our next interaction, he has taken the role and title of governor, which makes me wonder, how did that happen? In a normal empire, only the king would have the power to make someone governor. He is still down that he lost his own child, but wants to protect the people. This ambition turns overzealous, and he builds larger defense structures, which some people criticize. He also expands the guard, and then he gets voted out. Is that how it works? Can you vote out a governor that is appointed by the empire? If they can vote out people, why didn't they do that for Joanna? Anyway, he's now not governor anymore, and some guy named Lacroix or something is now governor. We won't see him much, so who cares how he's named, he probably hides from Sieg Wahrheit. Later the town gets attacked and the defenses were justified, and the people have trust in Bardon again, and he becomes the governor.
But in truth, you're a kind person.
I'm the kind of man who rushes in without thinking. I ought to take more care and not act so rash. Let's focus on the future now. This region, in fact the whole country, depends on it. Mind if I ask you just one more time? If you think I'm fit to govern?
There's no one more qualified for the job than you, Bardon.
And you truly believe that? Then I must devote myself to the work even more, so as not to disappoint the future king. Thank you greatly for everything you've done. This only happened because I had your support. Even when I made mistakes, you stuck by my side. I'll return the favor one day. I swear it.
Don't worry, lad. Just water. Back where I grew up, there was nobody like you lot. Just you, Jeeves. We've never been accepted by other tribes, and 'tis no mystery why. We're nocturnal, we look worlds apart, and there's so few of us. Not enough for any political sway. Our elders only ever thought of short-term alliances, loyalties changeable as the wind. We relied on their power, not ours, and resigned ourselves to that. Oh, I loathed it. Even as a child. I hadn't been cowed into considering myself lesser. I honed my skills, that the city's majority might accept me, and I'll not say it was fruitless. I was accepted into the knighthood of the royal capital. I felt like my fellows and strangers alike accepted me as an equal. Fool that I was. They never really wanted me among the true knights. Just in the Shadow Guard, where my deeds were dirtier and kept secret. Equal and lesser in the same breath.
Heismay has probably the best bond. We already know from the main story that he lost his child. He tells us that he was never really accepted into the knights, despite his skills. However, he still had pride in his position. Heismay did leave his old village, and his son never saw it. The boy looked up to his father, to knights, as shining examples of people defending the weak. He mourned that the boy never got a chance to grow up. We also find out that Ogive cremate their dead. Heismay has a urn with his boy in it. His ashes, of course. It is tradition that he needs to lay the ashes to rest in a proper place, and we decide to look for one with Heismay. We look at different places, but then go to his hometown, a quiet Ogive village. The villagers shot off others, and they even stole the urn. Heismay is angry at the unchanging ways and the malice of his people. We follow some clues and find the urn. He speaks to the villagers and says that they too need to change their ways and give their children opportunities instead of denying them. In the last scene, he disposed the urn and made a necklace from the bones within. This is a good bond, because first it's more original in its setting, finding a burial place for a mourning father. We find out more about the culture and we have some real character change.
I mustn't turn my eyes from my son's passing. Nor will I surrender his memory to Earth, left to rest in some place far beyond my heart's reach. No. I have but one course. I will carry my son with me, and we will change this burden of oppression against our people. Until that day comes, when we change this world for the better, I will fight with my son at my side and in my heart.
Hey, you lot about finished. Let's get on with it.
The UI looks beautiful, but beauty is not all an UI needs to do. The UI is also responsible how to navigate menus, how fast and intuitive it is. And in this aspect, Metaphor is a menu jungle. For example, if I have enough hero fruits that increase the level of my archetypes, I use them from the inventory and level up myself and followers. This way I can learn more archetypes with my characters without having to battle with all the archetypes. But now look how it's done. I open the menu and press Y and unlock an archetype, and each time there are multiple text boxes and even have to confirm my choice, even though there is little mistakes to make and even if there is enough makla that it hardly matters. Then I have to look at the cutscene that plays every time, have the characters and more talk. Then I have to confirm if I want to change to that archetype, and then I can get out of the archetype menu with 2 button presses. Then I have to open the inventory, use the fruit, and can only use them one at a time, which takes ages. No matter how fast you press, and you get interrupted every time the archetype gets a new ability. Look how long that takes to level up an archetype. Then when it's finished, you might suspect that I can unlock another archetype from that menu. But no. I have to leave, navigate back into the archetype menu and repeat the whole process for each archetype, which there are dozens for each character, which there are 8. So you might do that more than 200 times. Even if you unlock all archetypes that you can, some are locked behind other archetypes that you first have to level up. Then you have to sit through the whole archetype introduction again. It's so extremely tedious and boring. First, let me skip all of that. I don't need a confirmation if I want to spend 600 makla to unlock an archetype. I have millions of that stuff. Also use multiple hero fruits to level up and make that instant without interruption. Let me change and unlock archetypes from the inventory. It's tedious, boring, and does nothing for the game. Inventory and menu management are gameplay aspects that are never deal makers, but deal breakers. You never buy a game because it has good menus, but you might stop playing it if it does have bad ones. It is not like this is the first game the developer has ever made, so this is not easily forgivable. It's like a master smith not knowing how to use a hammer.
Well then, let's lay out our situation.
So back at Virgo Island, we called in Rella to look after Fidelio. Later we have a party at the beach and Fidelio gets some introspection time.
Del, what do we believe in, really? Are we absolutely positive that, you know, Count Luis's vision and ours have enough in common?
I thought we were done talking about this. He's the reason we got this far. A couple of Parapus orphans. Nobody else wants us. Nobody cares about us. We'd be nothing without Count Luis.
I know, Del, but he makes all them speeches about equality, but in the end, he's gonna leave the weak to die. I heard him talk about his ideal world, and it sounds like a world where we'd have died alone in the dirt. No Saint Rella to save us. Is that what we're fighting for?
Too late for that kind of talk, brother. Blood on our hands either way.
We then move onward and present to Louise the fake lance. Juna will sing at a later date and we plan to assassinate him there. Again, no contingency plans. You need to make a couple of plans for different outcome and scenarios. What if Louis survives? What if he doesn't? But we get attacked by others. It's the same problem like in the beginning, which they failed. They only have one plan, and if it fails, they need to improvise, which only works because the devs take the characters by the hand. But this makes the narrative so much worse. We visit the opera and do some recon, and soon find our way to the roof. There will be a lot happening here, so I will abridge some stuff.
I can't close my eyes to the sunrise. Hey, now!
Why do you dawdle? Did you get him?
We do not know why, but the lance.
Should we withdraw to retrieve it? Or make our escape?
Lost a lance? Perhaps it's this one. At last your allegiance is laid bare. And if this lance wounded me, then I take it the one you provided me was a mere imitation. If you know what the lance is capable of, then surely you understand the situation. Your last hope is gone.
Lord Louis!
A fine blow. You've surprised me.
I know that face. Was that Louise? Someone go and see to him. Is he truly dead?
Allow me.
Years ago, Luis ordered my hometown destroyed. Hulkenberg, our ally before you, was herself a royal guard in service to his late highness. Even the songstress, Juna, aided us on several occasions. Above all else, we are a group who came together to try Luis for his crimes, traitor and kingslayer both. And to do that, we had to enter his company. We took no joy in disguising our true intentions, not from your eminence, nor the people. But today, finally, we have seen justice done. Luis has paid for his sins. And at last, at long last, my parents can rest in peace.
I had not realized you were such an actor. Or do you truly weep?
It's just hitting me now. We finally won.
So you lot were working against us from the start. And you right along with them, Lady Juna.
What was your motive? Why did you kill Lord Louis?
We have sought to save the rightful heir to the throne. To break the curse afflicting His Highness the Prince.
You did this for the Prince! His father, the king, was a coward! Puppet of Forden! It was because of him that this country rotted from the inside. And for his son! For his bloody, useless corpse of a son! What made you think his life was worth more than Count Luis?
Was Luis really a master worth your trust? I think it's worth listening to your hearts now. Even the doubts. I know we'd be happy to have you.
Hold a moment. These two were Luis's right-hand men. I would advise against this.
No, their hearts are as loyal as any of ours. They but served another master.
Lady Juna. I guess you really were watching out for us. More than we ever knew. I couldn't protect Basilio when it mattered most. They put him through so much for their sodden igniter experiments, and now protecting him's all I've got.
Del.
Maybe it is time to step back. Get away from this bloody business. I guess this was all it took. Count Luis gave us a dream to fight for, but I suppose It was the kind that doesn't feel right after you wake. So, we're drifters now. Maybe we'll open up that restaurant after all, eh? I'll see you around, Lady Juna.
Look, I'm not the smart one, you lot know that, so I don't know whether to punch you or thank you. I've never been this confused in all my life. Damn it, I just don't get it. Damn it. Oh, Del, wait! Don't you wander off like that? You mean all that about the restaurant, yeah?
What's going on? The cursed thorns haven't disappeared.
But the caster is dead. Forden and his guard were sure to check Luis's body.
Calm down, everyone.
And now comes another nosedive from the narrative. We only now think of the day the prince was assassinated. Hulkenberg assumed the prince was cursed by Luis because the figure was young, as did Queers. She never saw the face or anything else, it just was a young body. So after all of this, we need to find out why the prince is still cursed, so we ask Rella. Because we assume it was Forden who cursed the prince and not Luis. We confront Forden and say that he's the assailant of the prince, and then this happens.
That night, you were the one behind the attack on His Royal Highness. You framed Luis for your crime and banished him from the palace. Do you deny it?
Who are you? We're at a festival. Should we not be festive? I've come to meet you, Forden.
Reese, coming here sealed your fate. Hell awaits, and this time I'll make sure you stay there. Face your divine punishment, Luis!
That lance is counterfeit, just like you. You believe me resurrected? Even if I could defy death, I care nothing for the prospect.
Then how?
No! Zorba?
Back at the Grand Cathedral, I ordered the dead to recover my body if the need arose.
I'd always intended for Forden to die by my hand, and the first step in his downfall was Zorba's infiltration.
Impossible. The lance pierced you through your very breastplate!
It did indeed. And frankly, I'm still impressed. Few could land such a decisive blow against me. But I'm afraid fate was on my side, not yours.
Mortal anatomy is my speciality. I knew at first glance that the wound was deep, but the heart was intact. Lord Luis is destined for far greater than this, so I devised a plan. I would proclaim his death and deceive both Forden and his flock. After that, it was simply a matter of magically regenerating his flesh overnight.
So this is bad. It's abysmal. Zorba miraculously survived because his undead healed him. How? There is not much of a body left after falling from that. Then he retrieves Luis, who was at the least on the verge of death, and also healed him very fast. He also got into the opera as part of Forden's crew and did all of that just at the right time. Just bad. Luis then wants us to spill the beans about the prince, which, by the way, he already knows, as we will soon learn. He threatens us by shooting, like a comic villain, at children, and Fidelio saves us by sacrificing his own life. Then Luis just leaves, because, I don't know, he just wanted to vent a bit? The information seemed so important to him that he shoots literally children, but then he just shrugs and fucks off? It's like the devs have a dartboard with villain deeds and just throw darts at random. It's almost like AI writing. Basilio awakens and joins the group.
You fight, but why?
O Lodestar, ye grief-racked brother, O thou anguished traveller. Thy long stagnant stance hath finally been broken. Now choose thy path.
Not really a choice. It's back to the starting line. This time I'll lead. Ardell entrusted me with this chance. I've got to show him I've got this.
Thank you. Thou hast chosen a noble parting. O Lodestar, whose light reveals the king's own path, henceforth thy fears and insecurities are thy light. Awaken.
See you around, Dell.
The prince is hidden away in the Elder village and Louis' henchmen are on their way, which we only will know later. Right now we have another scene that could be straight out of a theater, as it is more dramatic than real. I think I said it in my Octopath Traveler video, but animes and games like animes have a lot more in common with theater than with movies. There are large monologues and dialogues between fighting. It's not better or worse, just different. Sorella enters the competition, then Louise comes and speaks directly to the king.
The reason I ask that you all gather here today is so that I may formally announce my succession to His Eminence, the late Sanctifex Forden. I know not if I am worthy, but under the teachings of the noblesse, I am determined to become a worthy king, a queen of this land.
Is that Louise's gauntlet runner?
The people's eyes have been opened. This entire tournament is a self-indulgent travesty of the Sanctus Church's making. First the king, and now you dogs of God. Why do you teach the people lies? You preach the true understanding is mutual and blind to the balance of power. Ignorant, willful or otherwise, to the sin and weakness that your lessons breed. The lance rests in my hand. With its power, my victory is assured. But surely you would not see the race decided by such injustice. And neither would I.
What is his aim? If he has the key to certain victory in his hands, why cast it aside?
Never takes what he doesn't win. That's Luis to the core. He means every word he says.
Be this thy course. Thou wouldst rule by strength alone.
He's talking!
Like when he first rose.
I killed Forden, yet has my standing fallen at all? Surely you would know. This petty race limps forward, while the land is further flooded with anxiety and monsters. You have left us an age of strife. You are powerless to stop it. And in your place, fool king, I will restore the balance and right this land's wrongs!
So be it. They who remain seeketh a clash without hindrance. Very well. Now and hereafter, my magic shall no longer protect thee.
Okay, so the protection is off, which makes us wonder why don't we all just attack him? This will happen at a later point anyway, so why not now? It's not like the church will help him. We assume a new plan by pretending that the protagonist is the prince, as there is a rumor the prince was also elder, because the king loved an elden woman. Luis then leaves and we let him because it's not the right stage for the final battle. Then Rella kinda hypnotizes the people and she confesses that it was she at a tender age that cursed the prince and later healed him as a cover-up. Rella actually wants to die here. The curse failed and she also suffers under the curse for all this time, so she pretends to be a villain. We also now can fly with our Gauntlet Runner, as Nirus did upgrade it enough. For some reason, it's like all major developments happen very fast at this point in the story. It's poorly paced. We think that Rella is at the old mage academy that was closed down by the king. We fly there and find her. How did she get there, by the way? Let's leave the main story at this point as a cliffhanger, and let's talk about Metaphor's narrative as a whole. Metaphor is unique among the Persona games, because for the first time we are presented at the main story with systematic problems that needs a systematic solution. To explain this, let's look back. In Persona 4, big spoiler warning here, a policeman has quite a lot of power over people and uses this to murder citizens. There is, however, never the discussion if a single person should have that power or trust. It's portrayed like a single bad apple, and when that apple is removed, the problem is solved. It's a personal problem that only requires personal solutions. At least it's presented in that way. In Persona 5, a teacher abuses a student, and there is not a discussion if teachers should be in that position and how the school system functions. It's just a single bad teacher that needs to be removed. Personal problem, personal solution. This is by larger the problem with the Persona games, that each enemy is a threat to the status quo, and by removing that enemy, it's solved. Another big spoiler warning here. In Persona 3 there is a shadow invasion of the world. The world was fine before. We solved that problem and it's fine again. We restore the status quo, which is always presented as the most favorable. You could call it the correct state of the world. The world is initially in its correct state, and through outside or inside intervention, it's thrown into the incorrect state. And removing the intervention solves the problem. You can imagine this like a river that flows down its path. If you put a giant rock in that river or dam, it will change its course, and by removing that rock, you restore the original river. In Persona 4, there is a murder case, and at the end it threatens to destroy the world. And when it is resolved, we restored the world back to its correct state again. The only time this actually worked were in Persona 4, because there was an idyllic place. There were some problems, but it was mostly idyllic, and there was one murderer, and removing that murderer makes it idyllic again. But that doesn't work in other Persona games. Persona 5 is actually the worst one of the series in terms of solution, because it takes real-life inspirations and fails to resolve the underlying issues presented, because a solution would require a systematic change. In Persona 5, very early, we get confronted with corruption. A politician changes a police report and a witness testimony, which frames us falsely. At the end of the game, that politician is no more, but that system is still there. There might be hundreds of children without magical power that gets threatened again because there will be more corrupt policemen and evil politicians. We also get confronted with the Japanese justice system that actually is not that bad if you look more into it, but let's ignore that for now. In the game it is presented as that the prosecution wins 99% of all cases, and our characters rightly point out that this cannot be justice. There is no way all these people are guilty. How is it solved? It isn't. At the end of the day, the justice system works in the same way. We just removed or changed one persecutor. Our characters see a problem, an unjust world or oppression, they get the power to change it, and then they won't. They just removed one bad person and the game pretends like this solved everything. Persona 5 has quite a lot of unresolved issues because it cannot solve them in a personal way. The game cannot do that because it's based on modern Japan, and the status quo needs to be preserved for the next game, which shares a universe. And our characters are mostly, in quotes, high schoolers. The Persona games also try to have a strong educational message, maybe for age ratings or for parents. You can never skip school, for example, even when the literal world is ending. The message is very clear. Each student needs to go to school when they can and be a law-abiding citizen. The system is always correct, which is false. Metaphor ReFantazio is not set in Japan, and right off the bat we are confronted with systematic problems. There is abundant racism and inequality among different tribes. So to solve racism, we need a systematic solution, and again, this is where Metaphor fails. The game presents the solution as people suddenly understood that other tribes are people too. But that was never the issue. Racism is a system of inequality, where you assume some people are worth more than others. It's not resolved by a single person saying that the other tribes are people too, or just saying from now on please don't do more racism. The underlying problem is systematic and self-perpetuating, and while other tribes also suffer from this, we use the Paribus here for an example. The Paribus are often poor and living in bad conditions. There are igniter experiments that, according to the Paribus themselves, gives them the opportunity to earn money while being risky. What Metaphor connects here very well is economic wealth and class structure. This connection is well researched and represented by the works of Friedrich Engels and Karl Marx, especially Das Kapital und Lohnarbeit und Kapital. Before Marx, there was the idea that there is first social change and then follows economic change. However, Marx and Engels in their works proved it to be the other way around. When there is economic change, social change will follow. In the Industrial Revolution in our own world, we first needed more educated workers and less farmers. Then we got the social change, which resulted from higher education, literacy rate, and what followed then is people's self-determination through democracy. We also see the principle deeply rooted in women's rights movement. For this example, I will go more into German history, but this is also true for the USA and other countries, but not that extreme maybe. For obvious reasons, you will see. After World War II, a lot of men died. Women mostly survived and are now the largest population group and were responsible for rebuilding Germany. They did most of the work, and by the 70s and 80s, when there were enough men again, the government tried to get women out of work and into the kitchen again to preserve the patriarchy. Because when a woman works for money, not only can she make decisions by herself, she also has political power. If one group does most of the work, they can strike. They can move things. Women getting jobs and earning money was the foundation for women's rights. Then voting rights, then equality. Because now they could no longer be ignored. First an economic change, then a change in society. We can see the same problem with the Paribus. They are poor. They are the underclass for most people. Classes are so inherently connected to wealth that it means essentially the same. People don't get a middle-class person that is also a billionaire. That would not make sense. And Paribus are the lower class because they have no income. They have no income because they are the lower class that gets treated with racism. It's not just a loop, it's a spiral of racism and economic inequality. The idea that poor people are ugly, abhorrent and scum is something new to our society. In medieval times, poor people were looked on more benevolent, and we can see this in most church scriptures. Today there are multiple experiments where unkept people that are perceived as homeless were not helped when they're suffering or pretended to have a heart attack compared to a rich looking person. In that way, Metaphor is more like our modern world than our medieval past. It's also a lot easier to be racist against and to oppress poor people than billionaires. Paribus are uneducated and malnourished, so people don't hire them. And so they can't get better paying jobs. And because they can't get better paying jobs, they cannot get baths, a home, security or education. While there is a racism problem, there is also a problem with economic inequality. What we need to understand is that these structures, this system, is not resolved by simply removing the figurehead of an organization or by killing bad people. Let's pretend there is an organization, let's call it the Catholic Church, and that has a widespread problem with sexually abusing children. Changing the Pope does not solve this. There needs to be a systematic change. This is not done by a few bad apples, but by a structure that nurtures and perpetuates and breeds these bad apples. Our solution as a king candidate in Metaphor is only to help everyone and just stop being racist. But we are still on the side of the status quo. The previous king also had an ideal, and probably many kings before him, and they did not change society even with godlike magic powers. Why should the deadbeat prince change anything his father could not? A systematic change, to give a concrete example, would be making changes to capitalism. There are few systems of upwards mobility, but one of them is education, and people that are rich get better education. Richer schools, better equipment, supplement lessons, private tutors. By making this free for everyone, we could remove this inequality. Another problem is inherited wealth. People that are born in money stay in money. When you are wealthy, you get rewarded by better interest rates, aka more money. When you are poor, it's the opposite. Many of today's billionaires got the opportunity to make all that wealth by having money from the start. Elon Musk, one of the richest person in the world, his father had a mine in apartheid South Africa. Donald Trump has a rich father, and Bill Gates comes from a wealthy family of bankers. A good solution would be to remove inherited wealth or limit it strongly and use that money for programs like free healthcare and education. Metaphor does not ever present a real systematic solution to these systematic problems, and this is where it fails. The writers essentially has to wave a magical wand at the end saying abracadabra and racism was no more to solve this, which is lazy and cowardly.
I've been waiting for you.
If Saint Rella's willing to die for something, no mistake, it'd be you, Lady Juna.
Huh? For me? Why?
Delusions.
Sister. What? You are protecting me.
If you would make this a country where it is no sin to be weak or ignorant, you need strength to shape it. Let us prove that strength here. Then, your life is now forfeit by my hand.
Wait!
Sister, please tell me what happened on that day. I want to know everything.
I was only 12. No child could so easily take a life in cold blood. I was confused, scared. I lost control. And the spell was cast. And so it became a wasting curse. Imperfect. Juna, then I will put an end to this at last. For all who deserve the truth. I shall reveal everything. Our country could be a place where all would thrive under a just king. I pray with all my heart that it will be so. What's left of my life is a price already claimed by my own curse. Perhaps it was too cruel to ask for a quicker death at your hands. I leave Juna and this country in your hands. Thank you, Juna. Your life and will was always your own. If only I could have lived with your freedom. I admire you. Please don't let this change you, dear sister. I just wish I'd had more time to watch over you.
Huh?
The curse is gone. He's cured.
Again, we didn't kill her, she killed herself. It's a staple in these Persona games that the group never kills people who are important, and as soon as you notice that, it's everywhere. Metaphor has a strong tendency to portray the protagonists as the good guys, a force for good, and the antagonist as evil. However, they fail because their own writing make the protagonist actually neither good or evil. Neutral to a fault. To explain this, let's look how Atlas does try to solve real conflicts. Atlas always prefers external solutions to problems with opposing positions that would result in the characters having to do, in quotes, evil for their goals or conviction. On the island, when we need to get the Dragonlance, instead of having to take it by force or deceit, they are giving it to us. We don't have to force anyone, it just solves itself. Joanna, a tragic character that has killed a lot of children in her grief of her own loss, we are not forced to kill her, which is something she deserves and it should have been done. The plot conveniently makes it so she surrenders and then is killed by the bad guys. If we had a plot where a person accidentally or by negligence, but not evil, would have killed a child and that child's parent would seek revenge, we can already see that our characters would do. They would not get to the option to allow the revenge or let the other person go free, but instead the plot would evolve in a way where either party dies by other means or the conflict is resolved by a sudden agreement. This will always be true. We never have to choose anything that can be considered evil. And they dropped the ball with Rella here, right now. Hulkenberg, or we, by extension, should have been forced to kill her. She is in a way innocent and she was forced to do that, but also we need her to die or the prince won't survive. But of course, we cannot make any decisions that can stay in our hands, so the plot conveniently evolves in a way that she dies without us dealing direct harm to her. And to make absolutely sure we cannot have any blame on our characters, they also said that she was already dying by the curse. So even us forcing her own hand to her own demise is not our fault. She was already dying. This is the key problem. And it would have been so much more interesting if our characters would have to make tough choices, if they would have to kill her. The plot, however, will always go in that direction. Our characters will never have to make any sacrifice. It will always be solved by other means. It's lazy writing to the core to make us good people without any agency. But this fails because you cannot be good. You cannot be good without being able to choose evil. The decision between doing something good and evil makes our characters good or evil. It creates our alignment. It is in this choice that our characters and our alignment is tested. This is where Metaphor fails. We are neither good or evil because we never had a choice to begin with. We confront Luis at the plaza and he reveals that the Elder were known as humankind and they could use magic without any help, and then uses a method to turn the protagonist into a human. Apparently, anxiety causes people to turn into humans, which cannot be the only trigger. I think there's also some special magic involved. We regain control and turn into an Elder. We make haste to the Elden Sanctum for healing and meeting the prince. We remember something from the past with Gallica on the way. Unbeknownst to our gang, this was the first time we met Gallica. We find someone.
Russell? You're safe!
Huh? My word. Is that you, Gallica?
You were His Highness's tutor.
Hmm? I know but one red-dressed knight. Are you the royal guard? The Lady Hulkenberg? By the heavens. Then...
She's been helping us. Everyone here is a trusted ally. They've all fought to save the prince.
Alas. Oh, what a tragedy. If this reunion had only been a moment sooner.
Russell, where is His Highness? What happened? Is His Highness safe?
A few days ago, those detestable cursed thorns finally faded. I cannot tell you how long I had waited to see them gone. It was truly a joy beyond words. It happened before we could fathom it. A lone stranger, a loathsome figure came striding in.
I must go to him.
You're right. Maybe we'll find some way to help.
Ah, I'd heard a rumor that there was a boy candidate who claimed to be His Highness. So, that was you? 'Tis just as St. Rilla said. You're no scoundrel. Indeed, you risked life and livelihood to see His Highness restored. Strange. Something in you reminds me of His Highness.
So the Sanctum got attacked. On our way we talk to some people, but no one remembers us. The fairy says something weird. Are you trying to become human? Fairies in essence are made of magla and are carefree creatures. Gallica is more person-like now, with her attitude. We arrive at the center, but we are too late. Sorba was already there and killed the prince.
No. It all happened in the bunk room in the back. We moved him here to the altar once all was quiet. I don't know if you'd believe me, but I received a revelation. Should the prince die, his body should be kept safe and still here until the rightful day comes, even if the boy is but a bastard sired by that despicable man. He is still Her Majesty's son.
Despicable? What, you mean the king? Wait, who's Her Majesty?
Do you know nothing of the child's mother? The boy was not brought across borders to us. He was born here, in the ancient sanctum. His mother was our past chiefess, the queen of our elder tribe. You there, boy. Are you perhaps... No, it can't be. And yet...
Is something amiss, milady Gruide? He is one of Gallica's allies. His loyalty stands with His Highness, and he has risked much in the prince's name.
Whoa! What's with the formal introduction? You were the one who gave us our orders in the first place.
Hurry.
Hey, are you okay?
The time has come. Here thou camest to the end of thy journey. This secret place was home to thee. Now, remember thy path thus far. Walk thy life's road and see it anew. He was consumed by the curse and was taken by a deep, abiding slumber. Yet his soul remained alive, so from his earthly form, I extracted his soul, that he might travel the land in Odyssey. And thus his stilled sands began to flow once more. Thy journey hast taken thee far, and taught thee much. So now I ask thee, who art thou?
I'm the prince's friend.
Is that truly thy role? To name but a few. Thy parents? Memories of thy youth? Hast thou any recollection of where and how thy youngest years were spent? Thou art a being of mine own creation. 'Twas Gallica alone who the Resistance laid their hopes upon all those days past. Thy life had yet to begin. All thou hadst, all that had been bestowed, was a memory. Thy mission to save the prince. Thy memories of youth in the prince's company, and the void enshrouding all else in thy past. All signs of thy conjured existence.
I have nothing?
Nay, the words of the prince in thy memory are unmistakably of his true heart. The memories gained on thy journey, the friendships made, the trust forged. These true things art thine own. All thy trials, all thy experiences wert to prepare thee for this day, to share the strength thou hast gained with thy other self. Hark, life is not yet lost. Thou wert born apart from the prince's flesh, born of his desire to change the world. In his stead didst thou travel the world. Thou didst support his heart, and became his living fantasy. That is thy true self. Thou art everything the prince sought to be, his ideal. Drawn by the divine relic, Magla coalesced into flesh, and flesh coalesced into form. The form of an elder, as I once was. time hath come. Awaken, reborn anew. No more the prince's dream of utopia thou wouldst chase. Nay, but thine own.
So we were never real to begin with, but some kind of magical twin of the prince. A lot of stuff makes sense with that in mind, especially that we don't know much about the world. The voice was our mother. It's not the worst, but it's also not that interesting. They should have made Juna's bond mandatory for the main quest, because if you did not know about Nydia's gimmick, this kind of magical body comes out of nowhere. But because I experienced that first, it was an already established possibility. We now get to know the real history of the world, which most already figured out. The world was in an advanced age, where magic and science was at the peak. People used and created monsters, and then a giant war happened, which killed almost everyone. The survivors were mutated into the current tribes, but the Elder are descendants from people that hid in bunkers and had the least mutations. We also find out that Louise is an Elder. The human, the monsters in this case, are what is left of people that succumbed to melancholia. Now this creates a problem. If the only trigger for turning into a human is anxiety, just imagine what the normal world would look like. Imagine tax bureaus or maternity centers. People are perfectly fine without magic to feel ungodly amounts of anxiety. If that really is the only explanation, it's a massive plot hole. For that reason, I will propose that melancholia is tied to makla, and it needs both high exposure and anxiety. It's just that the way she frames it, that as long as people generate enough anxiety, first there will be makla and then there will be humans. It's one process fueled from this one emotion.
Magla is a substance born of the heart, generated when one feels anxiety or fear. By certain means, it may be kindled into power. That is what we call magic. In this way, it is by virtue of the anxiety in our hearts that we gain the power to overcome it. Magic is a natural process, and anxiety is its invaluable, irreducible fuel. But in turn, those burdened with more anxiety and fear produce more and more magla from their hearts. Without the willpower to face your fear, the magla overflows. Uncontrollable by magic, it can give rise to strange and terrible happenings as it manifests, with the world embroiled in chaos. These outbursts of swollen magic may be happening all across our kingdom.
'Tis the answer to everything. The melancholia crystals, the beasts driven feral. The very land is erupting with the weight of its people's fears.
With that, we also know that Louise wants most people to turn into humans, so only the strong survive. He's a comical villain at this point. On our way out, we fight Sorba, who returned and beat him. After this, we get another Gallica scene, and Moore remembers the voice and yearns for her. Bonding time!
Allow me to reintroduce myself. My name is Brigitte. I run this shop and manage trade of magic igniters. This is your first time in Grand Trad, you mentioned. Then, what do you think of magic igniters?
Brigitte is the owner of the magical igniter shop. To initiate the bond, we have to do a quest first. She then invites us to her office. There she hires us for special tasks. We return to her and find that she has rescued a dog. We take care of it, and Brigitte says she never gets attached to animals or people, because her enemies will use it against her. Which turns out to be true, because in the next scene the dog is dead. No, really, that's not a joke, the dog is dead. It happens off screen and Brigitte is down. In the next bonding event, Brigitte has found out where those people are that killed the dog. These people are anti-igniter extremists, and she wants to kill everyone, which we refuse. We travel together, and the place is a normal village. Brigitte was tricked by the Sanctus Church, and she has a breakdown. In the last scene, she gets assaulted by some poor Ogives that got tricked by the church, but instead of killing them, she forgives them, which she would have not done before. She has some character growth in her story, but it was very planned otherwise.
I'm not saying you have to trust me right away. Believe me, I have a hard enough time trusting people myself. But isn't this what you two really want? To believe in people, and believe in your own happiness? Thank you. I'll show you the way to the research facility now. That took incredible bravery, you two. I can already tell you have a better life than mine ahead of you. A more peaceful and gentle future, greater than anything we could imagine, is about to dawn. I was always afraid of telling the truth. I built igniters into a shell around my life. On the inside, I figured I had nothing. I was nothing. Just a hollow parody of a person. But even knowing how weak I really am, you refused to abandon me. Thanks to you, I've come to know hope again. So I'll believe in that hope and try to live my life to the fullest. That's my decision, and I'll stick by it. Thank you, young man, for giving me the courage to live again.
Basilio and Reese drive through the town as we meet an old friend named Winker. He, Basilio and Fidelio were both part of the Igniter experiments that killed many Paribus. We are told that Basilio and Fidelio both grew up in the slums, and now he dresses like a 70s disco icon. I mean, you can see it too, right? While shopping, he hears some folks talking about a murder case, and we quickly find out that Winker is the culprit, killing the people that did the experiments on the Paribus. We fight Winker later in a cave, but of course we don't kill him. He succumbs to the after effects of the experiments, so our hands are clean.
Ever since I was a kid, my brother's always been the one pulling me along. Scary as hell making your own path in life, especially if you got something you want to protect. But it's not about the fear. I'm excited to make my own future, see how it all turns out. It makes me wonder if Del and Lady Rella felt like this. Look, Cap, I want to make a better world than the one they left me. I'm gonna build a future that's got room for our joys, where everyone's got a reason to smile. That's me new dream.
Basilio Bond shows how Chekhov's gun misfires. For everyone who's unfamiliar, Chekhov's gun is an advice that says if something is introduced in a story, it has to be relevant later. Most people tend to take this advice as gospel, without putting this into the right media context. Chekhov was a playwright, and a narrative designed for a theater play is different to a book, a video game, or a movie. The problem is that Metaphor has this tendency, or this rule, that all Bonds are their own little world and have no bigger connection to the outside. So no other narratives, no other bonds, no other people within the larger narrative. All characters that are introduced in a bond only are relevant in that bond. So as soon as we hear there is a murder case and we have a new character, we immediately know that these are connected to each other. But not by the merit of the player's deductive abilities or their intelligence, but because of meta knowledge. Chekhov's gun needs to be fired, but even without a bullet, it killed the mystery beforehand.
Say, I've a grander favor to ask. Could you check around for more of these lost relics? Looks like the old man worked out a few other locations. There's 7 more relics noted down in this journal. I've got to see them all with my own eyes. A quick stopover or 2 in our travels should be all it takes, so, please?
Right. Leave it to me.
Appreciated. We're in this journey together, what?
I'm skipping Nuros, or let's make it quick. He wants to upgrade the Gauntlet Runner. Then he gives us a quest to gather materials, and then he upgrades the Gauntlet Runner. That's it. I find it genuinely hard to talk about Nuros Bond, because he just wants to do, and only does, one thing. There is no character development, or even any more story or backstory to this. There is however one thing I find hard to include in other parts. Like with some bonds, you get some benefits for the gameplay. In Nira's case, he supports you when you're fighting monsters on deck. First, why do we let monsters or enemies even near our runner? Let them climb up and take position instead of intercepting them when they arrive and run to our gauntlet. Secondly, when Nira's support ability triggers, he bombs the enemy that is on deck. He bombards his own gauntlet runner. It makes no sense.
Brother, I'm learning about the outside world from him. If I remain naive about it, I will only be a burden.
Does living beyond our borders make you anxious, Yufa?
A little. But I shouldn't be, no? This was my own decision.
Yufa asks us to show her more of the world, and we travel through the city of Brylehaven and find a local church led by a priest. A little Ogive boy named Ovi is praying for his mother, who is in treatment in this church. Yufa identifies an illness with the Makla. She is able to see Makla because of her third eye, but the priest does not believe in these pagan abilities. The priest thinks that they need more prayers and radical solutions. He brings everyone into a cave, but we save the people, defeat the priest, and heal Ovi's mother and the others. It's an okayish storyline. You could have done more with it and explore different rites and religions better. Instead, it hammers down what we already know. People are racist. Wow.
Would you consent to shake my hand? Please?
Sure, but why?
Wait, really? You will? Do you remember, the trials of Malnova? I said we Mustari have two kinds of handshakes. The one we did back then was to demonstrate trust, but this time, I want the other kind. I want to convey my feelings to you. Please?
Yes. I understand.
Oh, thank you.
The bonds are overall bland. They don't give us much and don't tell original stories. Also, despite their lengths, nothing much changes in them. They are not incorporated into the larger narrative because of how the game is developed. These isolated stories are just not that good. It's better than the Persona games, however. First, you get a rank with each meeting, no more friendship points. In Persona, you kinda become a person you would teach your children not to become. A yes-sayer, that only ever gives the responses other people like without regards to your own disposition. Here you can get bonus points, but they are just money. You don't lose friendship and subsequently time. You can also do every side stuff in Metaphor. I finished every bond in one playthrough, which I could never do in any Persona game. I'm however conflicted about having 8 bonding ranks. In Persona you had 10, and it often felt arbitrarily too much splitted. However, by reducing it to 8, this did not really change anything. So my question is, how many ranks should these bonds have? 8? 5? 12? I think the answer is simple. However much the author wants them to be. Some might be 3, some might be 15. Yes, that would result in having to go away from uniformly making the same number of ranks for all bonds, but I think that works against the system as it is now, and especially against a good narrative. If you are a reader, you probably have some books at home. If you are more a movie person, pretend we are talking about movies and adjust it accordingly. Now, if I would count the word number in every book you have, you might not find 2 books that have the same number of words. Imagine now I would arbitrarily say that all books need to have a word count of 75,000. Now, books you enjoyed that are longer have to be cut, probably deleting parts you like. And if you have shorter books, they get inflated with useless filler. Having a specific length for every story just goes against the artistic freedom and can't produce the best results. Every taste is different. Some people prefer faster paced books, some prefer slower ones, but also every writer has their own writing style. Some writers could not write fast or slow paced books because it does not fit their specific style, and so they have to make artistic sacrifice in order to fit a system that is not focused on the narrative. That is my take. Abandon the system that requires all stories to be the same length. It doesn't, never has, and never will work. We return to the city and everyone is mad at us for some reason. It's like a family reunion. We hide again in Fabienne's place, but leave the runner behind. If people want you dead, and you leave your car behind, it will be 100% trashed when you come back. It's insane that we leave the runner just there. We now have 30 days to invade Louis' palace, which I do right now, but I saved before the boss. It's not necessary, which I will find out later. Unlike Persona 4, if you do the last dungeon early, you are not punished by less time. On our way, we get some rare introspection time from Louise.
How disappointing. The prize is already in my hands. All that's left is to wait until it might be awoken. The people must think I'm the one behind the madness in their hearts. Okay. I can see why you felt such hopelessness. The more anxious the people grow, the more they choose blind fanaticism over confronting their fears. This was no fault of yours. Simply their nature. Knowing all this, I shall claim the ideals you abandoned and finish it in your stead. But I have my own interpretations to add.
The palace is gigantic, has a lot of humans, but is in essence like any other dungeon. A large set piece of enemies and some minor gimmicks. What's more interesting is that to progress we have to solve the melancholia of the palace, which resonates with the people, and some of our bonds and friends speak on our behalf. We arrive at the throne room, where Louis could wait for like 30 days doing nothing. He could have at least have a chessboard, a book or anything. He tells us that the royal scepter draws Makla from the people and not from its original source, which does not really change anything, it's just a technicality. But he inverts the flow of Makla to turn everyone into humans. This is a funny part, however.
Worry not. You've proven you're more than worthy. I've little doubt you'll survive the first culling and move on to the new world. You mentioned earlier that we might still resolve this without bloodshed. Then, I put the same offer to you. Join me, Prince. Born of Elden blood, welcoming anyone regardless of tribe. It is no coincidence that you and I take inspiration from the same book.
Don't let him sway you, Your Highness.
I know you detest injustice as I do. Come with me. Let me lend you my power, and together we will change the unfair world we seek to destroy.
It's true that I hate injustice.
Wait! Hey! What's gotten into you?
Hey! Are you listening to me?
Should you deny me, then what? How would you fix this country? You must have seen it everywhere you traveled. Tradition, superstition, family honor, and all those struck down unjustly in the name of such authorities. The only cure for such suffering is a simpler world, in which strength triumphs over pain. It is not a solution without cruelty. But surely the fairness it would restore to our lives is worth any sacrifice. Come with me, and we can realize this dream. What say you?
You're absolutely right.
What? Are you serious?
There is logic in his words, but...
Please, tell me you're lying. Is there no way left to oppose him? Is that what you believe?
How to end up like this?
Damn! What in the world is going on?
No!
A wise decision.
No! Prince! Your Highness!
At this point, what can we do but try to change our perspective? Maybe this is better than prolonging the cycle of injustice.
What are you saying? Isn't that your cue to make an impassioned plea?
It's out of our hands now. It wasn't long ago I was living alone in an empty cavern. I'll have to appreciate that this will be better than that.
I don't believe this.
No one else seems to have objections.
Wait! This is not...
Why the agitation? I did say you would all survive this. Though, considering how you falter now, perhaps some may fall short of salvation. Trivial, nonetheless. Behold, the new world dawns.
Afterwards, the nation was transformed. It became a world of humans, with both Luis and the prince taking equal hand in its creation. On the day of that world's birth, it was also thus decided. All known history of the world before would henceforth be remembered as the tale of the fallen. As for what became of the world that followed, to the humans, the question is irrelevant.
So, like in all Persona games, there's a fake ending. What baffles me is how extremely fast our companions just accept that. Anyway, I reload and Luis just fucks off to a different place to charge the scepter because I don't know why. I guess the devs just thought the place is not epic enough for a final fight. And of course we have to kill a god by the end like in any anime game. We return to Fabienne and discuss how we will travel to Luis and that we still have time. On the last day we will automatically travel to the last dungeon. The last dungeon looks epic, but is not noteworthy besides that. We catch Luis using a hugging pillow of Fabienne. Of course not. He's just sitting there doing nothing, not even napping. He holds another dialogue and let's hear him out.
Revenge? Ludicrous. That would accomplish nothing. An entire tribe does not become so derided to the point of genocide by authority figures alone, but by the vice of the society in which that ignorance is born. Indeed, it would be equally petty of me to take only the heads of the few familiar guilty, for my own satisfaction, no less. No, I would not repay injustice with injustice. Neighbors and kin I'd known all my life were soon nothing but ash on the wind. Too quick to realize their own deaths. I was but a child, trembling before a wall of fire. It was a massacre. It had nothing to do with any hate on either side, or retaliation for any perceived offense. It was only pure injustice. A selfish act of devastation. One thought alone burned in my mind. I would never let it happen again. And so did I walk onward.
It was tragic.
Thus, I choose to make this a land of eternal, perfect equality, even should it cost my life. I shall return the anxieties endowed upon this scepter, and let it be heard. To burden others with your own fears and responsibilities is cowardice. My royal magic shall craft a world where that cannot be. Such cowardice dies. So be it. From the beginning, I have championed world order determined by power. All that remains is for me to realize my truth by burying you beneath it. You are not the sole wielders of these lost archetypes. I am Luis, bearer of the royal scepter. With only a thought, the power of kings is mine to command.
What?
Behold, and I will reveal the secrets still beyond you. Come, we decide our world's future here.
He's just weird. Atlas just can't write compelling villains. For the last part he gives some Greek god vibes. Then he retreats and we have to follow him. But we can't start the engine and some of us need to stay back to secure our start.
We must endure this.
Hulkenberg!
Got it! We're powered!
Not good. They're going for the Sky Runner. Not on my watch. Let's wreck him!
Hey, what are you doing?
Sure you want to die next to me, old man? Thought you ate platypus.
Aye, it's true I don't understand you and I never will. But I know I don't hate you, boy.
Let's go!
Aye! We fly!
What? A noble must protect his people! Take this!
Finally, I've earned my title.
She flies. Straight and steady.
Our kingdom is in your hands, my prince.
We gotta go back! Everyone, they're going to!
We can't go back now.
We have to!
Take cover in the back. You made my dreams come true. You and the rest of them. If we live, we'll meet again.
What are you?
Let's fly!
You've lost everything, and yet still here you stand. I must say your audacity is almost admirable. As I said, I would rather not force needless death upon you. Embrace it once more. Take your true form and become worthy of my new world.
We arrive at Louis' place. Beaten, our friend's dead, and his melancholia is transforming us into a human. We see more in our last moments. He reveals that this world is fake and there's a real world like modern day. He's lying. He just wants us to rest in peace, more something like we were before. A mug-lab copy of the previous king, who wrote the book Utopia under the pseudonym Thomas More. The king simply gave up losing his wife and his son and kinda ripped his ambition from his body and turned him into more and hid him away. We return to the real world and find our friends survived, which I don't actually like. Not a single one dead. The stakes should be high here, and having to sacrifice at least someone would give the story more credibility and importance. But because everyone survives, always, we are never in doubt that all people will make it. It takes all urgency and importance away. Sometimes you have to let people die in a story, I'm sorry, even if you like them. Maybe even more if you like them. Sometimes it's just required. We reunite and kill Louise, who becomes something like a god. There's nothing more to add. Good visuals, but same soup. I will abridge to the end.
Let's go then! This is our final battle!
But why? Why is it still beyond me?
Look! He's done it! He's finally beaten Luis!
Everyone's fighting their fear and anxiety. Nobody knows for sure what's right. And even through all that, the people have declared you king!
We fight for more than justice. Show him our will against his. Show him the fall of his world!
Hold fast to your ideals! 'Tis your sworn duty as king!
You've wielded the power of kings! It's time to stop following their footsteps! Now it's your turn to take your place with them!
Damn you! The people have chosen my son. With that, my tremendous gamble hath borne fruit. Thus it is that my duty here draws to a close.
And now, the novel you wrote with such passion will finally begin a new chapter.
This voice... could it be? But how?
While flames swept through the sanctum, I cast a final spell to abandon my body and survive in soul. I became an immaterial being among the fairies. I had to, so I might provide guidance to the child on his most perilous path.
The power of the archetypes. Was that your doing?
No. All I did was awaken them to it. My voice carried the words they needed to hear. That power is no great and rare treasure. It is something that might be grasped by anyone with the will to change the world. And anyone has the power to change the world. Those children proved as much. Now, that boy has grasped the courage of a warrior. All dragons who still roamed the continent have fallen by his hand. For what greater embodiment of the impossible is there than a dragon? And he now possesses the power and will to quell those forces.
I see. Then he is not so weak a child that I must hold his hand. I am truly sorry. I lost all the power I once knew. I saw the sanctum burn. And you. I lost you. Once they took our child from me, all my remaining hope went with him. And so I placed my faith in the royal magic. I believe that if this world would choose him, there would still be hope.
Mountains upon mountains of appeals from the people. How many days will this take to sort?
After all the trouble you took to flee politics. And somehow you're now the preeminent ladyship of your house. Such is fate.
Despite everything, this year has passed in surprising peace, hasn't it? Honestly, with the royal scepter disappearing like that, I feared more dissent.
Hey! Isn't the king supposed to be here?
When did he? I've said countless times not to leave unannounced.
Oh, this decoration doesn't suit me. How'd Louise and Forden put up with all this damn finery? Your Majesty? Are you here? Juna's back from her inspection.
Apologies, Troll. I'll look for him now.
Wait! I'm coming with you!
Oh, good grief. Some things never change. Not that they should.
I'd say life has changed plenty for us. Yet somehow our captain's same as he ever was. Feels familiar. It's been far too long.
Aye, the wind feels an echo of days past.
Unusually poetic for you.
They're awful, aren't they? They would have left us behind. Oh.
Well, I'm not certain we're in a position to talk, having followed straight after, saying we could just teleport back.
Well, hey, we figured the kids might want to change your scenery, like.
Wow! Amazing!
Poetic indeed. That the scepter's absence restored order to Magla, and even greenery to the sands.
I'll say, I definitely like this view better.
Let's go.
And that was Metaphor. I liked talking to everyone you meet at the end. Metaphor has some good parts and some bad overall. I would rank the gameplay near the top, maybe even better than Persona 5, but the narrative is at the bottom. The game does not have many big flaws, but way too many tiny ones. Let's break the narrative down into premise, setting, the story, the pacing and interconnectedness. The premise and setting is pretty basic in my opinion. There are different races, there's racism, wow. Oh no, the system is rigged for the rich, by the rich, and people in power want to stay in power. The world has an outside threat in forms of humans, which you know, despite the naming, are just monsters. Maybe the devs thought that just having monsters would be obviously unoriginal, so they changed it into humans to camouflage the aggressive boringness. The pacing is hard to grasp. Personally, I have ADHD, and maybe you have it too. If you only ever find the pacing of a story is only wrong when it's too slow and almost never when it's too fast, congratulations, you probably have it too. Still, I think the game is too boring in parts, because people will talk endlessly about things we already know. I don't know if I said it before, but barely anyone has seen my videos, so I think I can repeat this. Boring by definition is redundant information. We humans, not the monsters, well, not always the monsters, are a curious species. It's what made us succeed. We want to have new experiences, we want to learn. We are pretty unique in our sense of feeling boring. That's why the more often you hear the same information, the more boring it gets. Let me give you an interesting fact. The oldest tree in our world is 4,800 years old. Now imagine I would say that a dozen of times. At first you might not be interested or interested, but not per se bored. With each repetition it gets more and more boring. This is in essence why Metaphor is boring. As well as for people that read Lord of the Rings later in life. Let me get on another sidetrack. When Tolkien wrote Lord of the Rings, barely any people did know about elves or dwarves. It was not boring. And his very long descriptions were needed because no one knows about this. But because most fantasy narratives nowadays is somewhat inspired by Tolkien, you will know about these things before reading Lord of the Rings. You will be bored as you read large paragraphs of text consisting of information you already know. In Metaphor, essentially, we get one information and then it will be hammered down dozens and dozens of times. The story also does not really connect to its premise, which brings me to the last part. We have encountered racism and systematic injustice, and then just beating up Lewis, and our characters saying, how about we stop being racist? And the people go on like, oh yeah, that's a good idea. It's insultingly simple. I don't require Atlus to solve racism in their game. But come on, they make it way too simple. And I already talked how this stems from Persona games and how the simple story structure is not fit for a complex setting. However, we don't need a real solution for racism. The king was something like all-powerful, which makes one wonder why he did not use that power. It's not like he has anyone to fear for revolting because unlike real kings, he's a supreme caster and could lift a palace, and in the intro it was said you could not wound him due to his magic. Now let's use this magic to give free solutions to racism. This would also give some kind of choice for the end. The good ending could something be like, due to the magic no one ever can perceive race. Everyone would look the same, and this results in racism being broken down over time. The neutral option could be magical segregation. Giant walls or splitting the earth and permanently shutting out the tribes from each other. The last one would be the evil solution. With our magic, we choose one race and make all other tribes infertile. Are these good endings? Probably not, but miles better than just, how about we stop being racist, guys? Even though I think the story is at the bottom, I still enjoyed it. Having a bad story does not mean there are no merits and enjoyable moments. Metaphor gave me plenty. I don't want to enter this specific world again, but I would love some more games by Studio Zero. Thank you very much for watching, and farewell.